All right, man, let's get to it. Yo, this is Set with Satan Comedian, man. I'm back with another one for y'all. Today, we're about to get into a very interesting debate that a billionaire had with, PBD. Pretty much saying that, billionaires shouldn't exist. This should be a pretty good one. Then we're going to get into some other interesting debates. This is going to be a fun night, guys. Let's get it going.
Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
I get out my pint of Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Ben and Jerry's. Ben and Jerry's. Ben and Jerry's.
One of the best business stories we've had in America, guys. How do you, who has made his money as a capitalist, support a socialist?
Poor people are getting screwed. We shouldn't be in a country where you work 40 hours a week full time and you can't afford to have a decent life. That
Unless you're getting paid like $7 an hour.
should be illegal.
Do you really want to go there? It's not going to be good if you really want to go there.
Hey, speaking of ice cream, you got a spoon? Good shit, isn't it? I've never had dirt. Yeah, pass it over.
This is ridiculous. After this ice cream, I'm a socialist.
If voting for Bernie was an option, he would have won. I don't need that much money, I can tell you that. I'm part of it, but I'm against it.
Ben, what a capitalist you are.
You know, you're a good consumer. We would classify you as a heavy user, and we appreciate people like you. I don't think we could be the number one.
But please tell me you're joking right now that you didn't know you're number one. You built the number one ice cream company in America.
I mean, that's why you're a billionaire, my man.
I think that there's a form of capitalism that works well.
How can you 1 minute say the government wastes money and next minute say let's pay more money because we think they can do a better job with it?
Nah, this ain't real.
They're so confused right now. They're about to have a drink right now. That's a confuser. You just confuse the shit out of them.
Okay, this would be an interesting one. All right, I'm gonna put you through the whole intro.
Okay, so gang, every once in a while I do a podcast where I have no clue where we're gonna go. I'm just being very upfront with it. I have no idea what we're doing today. What I do know is, I don't know if you recognize this brand, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. If you've ever had Ben and Jerry's ice cream, the founder, Ben, is here today. Ben Cohen, to kind of tell you an idea about where he's at while we're talking right now. They're from Vermont. I've been to Ben and Jerry's because the insurance company that we're one of the guys that writes the most insurance policies with them, National Life Group, is down the street from you.
Yeah.
So I know them. So I've been to Vermont quite a few times. So we go to the headquarters. We have a good time. We're going to try Ben and Jerry's. I brought a lot of other ice cream that he hasn't seen it yet. I brought Haagen-Dazs. The reason why this is important is because I used to work at Haagen-Dazs back in 94, 95. So there's a certain affinity. I was the number one banana split maker in the entire Glendale Galleria Mall. I was the best. I had a reputation.
What?
Yes.
You know how to split it down,
Listen,
down
I
the
know how
side
to
with
split
your
it. I know how to put the strawberry, the ice cream, the chocolate, the nuts on top of it with the Nutella. I was the best.
You know, people have lost the art of making a good banana split. We ought to call you in and you can train our people.
I may make a comeback. I'm telling you, I was very good at that part. But let me tell you what's kind of interesting about this conversation. Tony tells me Ben Cohen from Ben and Jerry's reached out, says he wants to be on the podcast. I said, really? I said, is he not a socialist Bernie Sanders guy? He said, I think he is. I said, why do I think that they're, Vermont, Bernie Sanders? Yeah. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, why does he want to come talk to us? I'm curious. Well, he's got some things he wants to talk about. Great. To kind of start it off so the audience knows your background, what you guys did. One of the best business stories we've had in America, guys. Let me tell you why. You guys started in 77. You were a potter, and Jerry he got rejected from medical school. The two of you guys decided to start a bagel shop, but the bagel machine was too high. You enrolled in a $5 ice cream making course instead. You guys took that a year later, created Ben and Jerry's with $12,000, and you turned that into a machine.
I mean, the fact that they had ice cream making classes is absolutely hilarious. Like, you had to take a class learn how to make ice cream. Hey, man, shout out, man. We in 2025. You just got to watch a video.
You sold it, and I don't know what year it was, for $326 million, like 25 years ago or something.
That's right.
And then today, Ben and Jerry's, just so you guys know how much ice cream the founders started in ice cream. They do $1 billion of sales a year right now.
Amazing.
So the question then becomes, how do you, who has made his money as a capitalist support a socialist? How does that work out? I'm really curious.
I think there's social democracies. I mean, I don't think socialism is opposed to capitalism. I think there's a way of doing capitalism that kind of cares about people, that has a better safety net, that is not so rapacious. I mean, what we have in the U.S. is unfettered capitalism, and what ends up happening when you have that is a tremendous spread between rich and poor. When Jerry and I started Ben and Jerry's, the spread between CEO pay and line level workers pay was 40-1, and we thought that's outrageous. So we had a lower one. We came up with the 5-1 ratio.
Yeah, that's interesting, by the way.
And that's changed over time. But
so
today,
it's no longer 5-1 at Ben and Jerry's.
But today,
I mean, hold on, what is it now? Because I'm pretty sure y'all probably went back to that 40-1. Like once y'all figure out damn, I don't think we could really profit like this. Y'all probably dialed it back. Just saying, hey man, business is business. It's its own entity. Sometimes you want to do good in business. Sometimes you want to be a charitable person, but man, you got to make sure you have that bottom line or no business.
The salary ratio between CEOs and line level employees is 400-1. And we're in a situation where, I don't know, what is it? 0.1% of the wealthiest people in the country own 90% of the wealth.
Which you're part of it. You're part of the 0.1%.
I'm part of it, but I'm against it.
What do you mean you're part of it, but you're against it?
Well, I am.
Like I'm part of making this money, but I'm also against making this money. Like, bro, wait, I'm sorry, but like, where do you stand? Like,
What did he say?
One of the, I'm a wealthy person.
Yeah,
but I'm against the system that creates such a spread between rich and poor.
Why though?
Because poor people are getting screwed.
But why? But why though?
Because. Why am I against it?
No, why? So okay. So please help me understand this. So at first you start Ben and Jerry's, and I saw that where you guys were doing 5-1 ratio, meaning if the lowest level employee full time was making 30 grand a year, the CEO couldn't make 150 a year, right? That was at the time.
Correct.
What do you think the ratio is right now at Ben and Jerry's?
I really have no idea.
Would you say it's 1-40? Do you
it might be.
But you work there, so you know what the CEOs make. You know what kind of money is making. You probably have the context. And
but like, bro, fuck you, work there, bro. You're the founders. Like, actually, I'd expect you to know this off the top of your head. Bro, over there making so much money, bro. He don't even know how the money distributed in his own damn country. I mean, his own damn company. Crazy.
There, let's just say the CEO of a company. Like, if I go right now, Rob, can you find out who is the CEO of Ben and Jerry's? I don't even know it. Ben and Jerry's CEO salary. I don't know what it is. I've never Googled it. Well, let's just see.
I'm interested. I've never Googled it either.
Okay, so Ben and Jerry's salary CEO back in 2000. We're talking
that was at the time that the company got sold.
But at the time, the salary was 504. 25 years ago, it was 504. Okay, so which became 17-1. All right. So I want you to follow this. So what you just said is I'm just responding to what you said.
Yeah.
So Ben and Jerry's got started. You guys wanted to be very noble and hey, we're not going to pay anybody at the highest level 5 times more than the lowest level employee. Lowest level makes 30, highest level makes 150. Okay, cool. Nice guys, noble guys. By 2000, you build a business that's doing 200 million a year. You guys are selling it for 326. Then the CEO pay was 17 times the lowest amount the employee was making. So that disparity went from 5-1 to 17-1. Let's say today, who is today's CEO of Ben and Jerry's?
Dave Stever.
Is it Dave Stever? What is Dave Stever's salary at Dave Stever salary Ben and Jerry? Right. If I go to it, I wish I could see it. I wish it was public. It's not showing it. But let's just say he's making a couple million a year. You guys are a billion.
I don't think he is.
Does he get stocks? Does he get shares? Does he get bonus? Does he get LTIP? Does he get?
Come on now. If you don't think, bro, at least making a couple million though, you're being disingenuous. Like, come on, bro. You're nah. Like just a couple mil. I mean, PPD was lowballing it with just a couple mil. I'm like, I don't know, like Ben and Jerry's doing $1 billion in profits a year. I wouldn't be surprised if he's taking home at least 10 million. But just to say a couple, and he's over here disagreeing, like, nah, bro, come on. The CEO of Ben and Jerry's is taking home what, 6 figures? Like, bro, I would be very surprised. I would not believe it. No,
I don't think so. I would think that,
But if it was
make sure, like the video, guys, go to double tap that screen for me, or the 3 dots up there in the corner, man. Let's go.
500,000 25 years ago, Ben, it's not going to be less than 25 years ago.
I believe it probably is, but I don't know. I don't have.
I know,
data.
but well, let's just say it's $1 million. Let's say conservatively it's $1 million, and let's say the ratio now instead of 17-1 is 30-1. So you guys started off 5-1. It went 17-1. Let's say it's 30-40-1 now, and then at the time,
I'm gonna be real with you. I kind of see the pattern he's kind of going. It's like as you guys scaled, the disparity got bigger. It's like, yeah, when you guys were smaller and making good money, you guys were able to have that, that 5-1. But as you guys got bigger, the disparity got bigger and bigger. I mean, what can I say? It's like there used to be a few positions or a few managers. Now y'all got hundreds of managers. They get like that.
Time you're saying 40-1 was what it was in the corporate world. Now it's 400-1. You guys have 10x, they have 10x. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with if you're creating value? Ben, you guys did something that's very difficult. Do you know how many people in America build a business from scratch that go from $0 to $1 billion in sales?
Not
Do you know
many.
how? Oh, Ben, what you've done is called doing the impossible. And I think the market should recognize you for it, your level of creativity. So that's the part. Do you think like when you guys originally started and you're building a business and you and your partner, you guys are 2 nice guys, Potter and a guy that was rejected from medical school, you built something with a $5 course that you take on making ice cream. And at first, maybe you guys coming from a place of socialistic ideologies. And then now you're kind of like, well, maybe capitalism's kind of cool. And there's nothing wrong with capitalism. Have you gone through that evolution yet or not yet?
I think that there's a form of capitalism that works well.
Okay.
We've always been a capitalistic country. My understanding is that when Reagan took office, the marginal tax rate on the highest level was like 80%. I mean,
which nobody paid for, just so you know that. They had it, but no one ever paid it. No, really,
Why?
no one ever paid it. It was what they talked about, but everybody adjusted in ways so nobody, even like people would do certain jobs so they never paid the highest marginal tax rate.
Well, whatever, but I mean that's the idea. That's what kind of makes sense to me.
It's to have it at 80%.
Well, what is it now? What's the top marginal bracket? What is
If you live in California, you're paying nearly 60%, but let's just say 43%.
Right.
You think that's too little?
I think that the system that has created such disparity between rich and poor, and that's part of it. So, no, I don't think that works. I think a lot of people in this country are being left behind. I think 50% of the country is getting screwed economically.
Why though?
Because of laws and regulations that favor wealth.
Such as what? You're a rich man.
What is there? There's lower taxes on capital gains, right?
But why
those who don't work,
those who don't work
pay less taxes.
Let me ask you a question. When you sold, you paid capital gains, no?
I mean, if you don't work, you don't generate no income. So what taxes do you have to take? I mean, I don't know. He's kind of getting cooked right now. He's kind of getting cooked.
Sure.
No, you did. When you sell a company, you didn't pay ordinary income. You pay capital gains taxes. So you guys sell for $326. Let's just say at the time you own 80%. I don't know what percent.
I didn't.
Okay, but let's just say whatever it is, you still are 9-figure guy. You made real money. Each of
How
you
many
guys.
figures?
9 figures, like 100 million plus.
No, I'm 8 figures.
Okay, but guess what you are? You're still very rich compared to the average person. But here's a question for you: how hard?
I don't need that much money. I can tell you that.
Give it away.
I give a lot of it away.
Give all of it away. Just keep $500,000 of it.
Eventually.
Well, why don't you do while you're alive?
Huh?
I'm working on it.
But why don't you do it sooner?
Come on, give it all away, make it right back. Like, hey man, you know what? Just start handing out $1,000 checks to every person you see. What can I say? It is like a complex question. We ask them, like, all right, well, if you don't like how much you got, I mean, well, how much you think you should have? That's what I'd ask. How much you think you should have? All right, cool. We can give the rest away and live your left and live the rest of your life on that. And I guarantee you, your ass will be scratching for your money back. Like well, that, and I'm pretty sure living expenses are quite lavish at this point. So yeah, it is funny how he has this stance, though.
I don't know. I haven't
Because
found a
you
good.
shouldn't do it. You've
haven't
earned it.
found a
Ben,
good-
you worked your ass off. You're
Well,
a
there's a
hero.
lot of people that are working their ass off. The whole bottom 50% of the country is working their asses off and getting paid shit.
What's the difference?
Now, you know what's funny? I actually have a nice little clip for that. But that I saw. Like all right when I heard him say that, I seen this clip at the same time. But this pretty much answers his question, or this pretty much, you know, kind of proves why he's wrong.
Have clear goals for your life, you are condemned forever to work for those who do. You see, in life, it's very simple. Either you are working toward the accomplishment of your goals, or you're working toward the accomplishment of other people's goals. If you do not have clear goals for your life, you are condemned forever to work for those who do. You see, in life, it's very simple. Either you are working toward the accomplishment of your goals, or you're working toward the accomplishment of other people's goals.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
So yeah, that is pretty much what it is. It's like if you're not really working hard for yourself, then you can work hard all you want. But if you're not working hard for yourself, then it really don't matter.
Working their ass off. The whole bottom 50% of the country is working their asses off and getting paid shit.
What's the difference between them and you?
What's the difference between them and me?
Mhm.
You know, there's
You're
some
guy.
luck involved. There was a good idea at the right time.
What's the longest vacation you took in the first 10 years of building Ben and Jerry's?
Not much.
Oh, really? Why not? Other people who have jobs can take longer vacations. Why didn't you take it?
I guess I chose to build the business.
And therefore, you made the money that you made. Most people,
Because you had the least days off. Why don't he understand that? It's like, bro, do you understand that some people aren't willing to put in the same hard work you did? Not willing to go without a vacation. Some people need to say, I need a vacation. I just need it every year. And then some people just say, nah, fuck it, I'm grinding. It's like, yes, that's the difference between you and a poor person. You and the person that's busting their ass at like Walmart or something, and the billionaire that's busting his ass on his company. You're working for yourself. He's working for Walmart. Walmart is going to have excellent stock service and excellent customer service because of that guy. But we're going to have great ice cream because of you. I don't know. It all depends on, you know, which one's more important at the end of the day.
don't want to work as hard as you do.
I do like ice cream. Right? I do like me some ice cream. Shout out.
What you did was very difficult, Ben. You got to give yourself credit for it. So to me, you know, I understand the concept of, you know, well, the rich people are this and the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poor, and questioning that. But the reason why you make a lot more money than some of the people that you're saying are left behind, you solved a bigger problem. You kept trying to find creative ways of coming out with different, you know, flavors of the ice cream. You guys kept trying to be creative, and you worked your ass off. And the market finally said, did these guys really build a business from zero to doing 200 million a year? Yes. Holy shit, let's buy it from them. And then now, after they bought it from you 25 years ago, it was doing 200 million. Now it's doing $1 billion a year. You know what that says? You guys built such a
Guys, let's get us to 20 likes, man. Appreciate the support, by the way. But go ahead and double tap that screen real quick to like the video, and let's get more people in on this conversation.
good business that somebody, after they bought it, they made 5 times the amount of money. That's a real business. That's not easy to do. What percentage of Americans do you think are willing to work that hard as you? Not that many.
I come across loads of people that are working really, really hard for really low wages. So I had an idea, and yeah, maybe I'm good at making ice cream flavors, coming up with ice cream flavors. Somebody else is a really good roofer, and they work really hard
Sure.
roofing.
Right.
Why should why?
Yeah, they're roofing, but they ain't making roofs. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't understand. Like, bro, somebody could be the best that I don't know, like shit, selling ice cream, but they're not making the ice cream like you are. It's like, bro, do you like? Does he not see what he's saying here? It's like, I get it. Yes, there could be somebody good at fixing cars, but guess what they're not doing? Making the goddamn car.
Why shouldn't they get paid?
You want the roofer to get paid 300 million, 326.
Or you want the roofer to get paid the same as the people who actually make the roofs or who make the materials for the roofs? Like what? Like, what are you saying? Like, what are you saying?
$6 million?
I'm not saying that much. All I'm saying is that what is the minimum wage in the country?
Let's say 15 million, give or take.
No, the minimum wage.
Let's say 720.
$7.20.
Sure, but
That should be illegal. That's a poverty wage. You
Bro.
shouldn't be. We shouldn't be in.
But that's the problem, though. If we raise the minimum wage, then small businesses are going to disappear. They can't afford to pay minimum wage. Well, if you raised it to like what y'all want, $30? Yeah, no. No. I mean, your mom and pop shops are done, or they run that shit by themselves.
In a country whereby you work 40 hours a week full time, and you can't afford to have a decent life.
I agree with you, but let me ask you a question. For the people that get paid $7.25, for those who do, the few that do, why do you think they do?
Well, I don't know how many there are, but I think there's a lot.
But why do you think they only get paid $7? They don't have to say yes to it.
It's the only job they can find.
Why can't they find any other jobs? Think about that. Actually answer that question right. Why can't they find another job? Rob, what's the least amount you ever got paid?
To calculate, it'd be annually $22,000 a year.
So 22,000 euros.
I mean, damn, the least amount I ever got paid delivering pizzas, like shit, $5 an hour plus tips. Probably making like $17 an hour, maybe.
Divided by, divide four, and how many hours a week were you working, Rob?
50.
Okay, do 50 times 50 is 25.
Damn, bro, I was working around that 50 hours, 60. Bro, hey, look, shout out to Cousin Vinny's. Okay, if you're in Ohio, you know about Cousin Vinny's. Boy, them people stay open late, like damn near like 24 hours. So your boy doing 12-hour shifts delivering pizza for college, you know, the college grind and doing other things.
500. Do 22,000 divided by 2,500. $7, $8, and 8.8.
Yep.
So do you make 8.8 right now?
No.
Did you ever think you're going to make the kind of money you're making right now?
Not when I was making 22,000 a year.
Right. So, but when you came here and all of a sudden you're like, well, we can really build something special here, right?
Correct.
Well, why do we pay you that? Why do we pay whatever the number you know? Why do we pay you what we pay you?
Experience, hard work, what I can do in the future. A combination of all three, I think.
Great, but have you earned it?
Yes.
If somebody
still earning it though.
I know you are, and you're working your ass off. But if somebody right now paid you $7.25, would you take it?
No.
Why though?
Because I've gotten to a place where my hard work is deserved to be rewarded.
That's right.
Yes, way more than $7.25. And you know, your bro got a family and all that good stuff. And also, make sure you guys double tap that screen, like the video, man. Let's get more people on the conversation. If you have any question, comments, disagreements, if you want to defend socialism, go ahead and send in $2 and up, and we'll go ahead and read it out loud, post it at the top of the screen, and engage with it. Let's start a conversation.
That's right. And guess what? Do you, if right now this doesn't work yet, do you have options?
Yes.
But you like being here.
Love it.
Of course. So that's the part. So for me, I have to realize I got to take care of the guy. And then for him, guess what he's got to realize? He's got to bring value. And that's the part when I hear that message sometimes, I'm like, okay, I get it, 725. They don't have to say yes to it.
You know, I think about my life.
Okay.
I'm white. I grew up in a family where my father was a college graduate.
Yeah.
He went to school at night. He was able to buy a house based on a government program that provided money to buy a house for white people, but by federal regulation, it was not available to black people. They would not loan. This was about redlining. The government would not loan into areas that were mostly black. And even if a black person wanted to buy a house in a white area, they said, "Oh no, you can't do."
Hold on. I'm confused. Hold on. What this got to do with us? Well, wait, hold on. How we get brought into this? What do you thinking that you shouldn't be a billionaire have to do with black people and redlining and all that crazy stuff? Like, how we get brought into this?
That because then it'll be black. That's illegal, immoral, unfair, and so the
what year was that?
I want to. What year? Well, I was born in 51, so
let's say
it was around there.
Okay.
That's when they did it.
You're talking about like 50s is before, like this is pre-MLK era.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And
it's a different America today, though.
Well, the America today has a lot to do with the America of the 1950s and before. So my parents were able to buy that house, and that's what helped them build wealth. That's where they got their equity. That's what allowed them to send me to a decent college.
Okay.
That's what allowed them to be in that neighborhood that had good public schools. And there's a lot of other people, say black people, that housing program was not available to. They were not able to build that equity. They were not able to build that generational wealth. They were not able to go to decent public schools. And so they didn't get that education. And that's part of what leads to the current situation.
I mean, a bit racist, but well, I mean, look, he doesn't mean to be. He's coming from a good spot, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of racist. Remember, a lot of black people came from those slums and still became millionaires, still did well for themselves, still was able to make it into, Ivy League schools. I mean, you got Dr. King as an example. Like, you feel me? Like, y'all like to bring him up all the time, but you don't like to bring up the fact that he was also a high achiever who was able to, graduate high school at 16. So it's wild that you guys say these things.
Situation where, if you look at the disparity in wealth between black people and white people, I mean, it's kind of huge. And, I mean, the whole country was, it goes back generations.
You're comparing today to the 50s. This is a very different America. I mean, I understand. So the part that I truly want to sympathize with you and empathize with you and understand is the life you've lived. I've not lived your life. So I can't sit there and put myself in your shoes and say, well, you know what? I understand why you have the certain feelings that you have. We all have our own set of stories. I got it. But let's face it, you didn't have enough money where your parents could finance it because you guys had to take a $5 ice cream course to learn how to do this. So it's not like your parents gave you $200,000 to start a business with. Now bring it to me.
Fine for that.
So now how about me? I wasn't born here, right?
Mm-hmm.
My parents got a divorce. My dad was a cashier at a 99-cent store. I go in the military and I get out. I had a 1.8 GPA in high school. I'm planning on staying in the military for 20 years. Should I be felt sorry for because my parents got a divorce and I was a welfare kid and I had a 1.8 GPA and I went over there? No, I don't. My dad never felt sorry for me.
Nobody's talking about feeling sorry for you.
But wait a minute. You're saying generation.
Well, hold on. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, you can't say nobody's. Well, bro, you just pretty much said, oh, well, we should feel sorry for all black people because they went through this, that, and the third. But yet we still prospered. We shall over. Yeah, all that nice stuff. But, bro, that's what I'm kind of saying. You're kind of saying, well, oh, we should just feel bad for black people. All this stuff happened to them. But yet we still made it. Black people don't even feel as bad as for black people than like white people feel bad for black people. It's kind of funny. It's like, man, like y'all sympathize for us more than we sympathize for our own. But I don't know. Maybe that might be a good thing. Maybe.
Generational wealth. You know how much money my parents gave to me? 99 cents. But you know what they gave me? I was born in. I lived here at 12 years old. I came to America. It's the greatest gift. The greatest gift anybody can give you is being born in America. So you know what I did with that? I went to work. And I made some money. And I'm not white. And I'm Middle Eastern. And I'm from Iran. And people have called me a lot of weird names while I was in the military. They call me terrorist. They call me this. They call me that because I was in the military, because I have a Middle Eastern look they had never seen when I was in Alabama. Do I really want you to feel sorry for me? I think the part about like looking at it from that standpoint, your argument is the generational wealth argument. Your parents gave you generational wealth that maybe others didn't get it.
I'm not saying that they gave me money. I mean, they were able to pay for college for me.
Do you think even without college, you would have eventually built Ben and Jerry's? What did you learn from college that helped you build Ben and Jerry's? I'm curious.
Not much.
Thank you. So let's just say they don't pay you for college. Would you have eventually still built Ben and Jerry's?
What I'm getting to
Yeah.
is the whole way that the whole environment in which I was brought up, being able to go to really good public schools. And, I go to low income areas in places around our country, and the schools are shit.
Why do you think, though? Why do you think? Why do you think? Do you really want to go there? It's not going to be good if you really want to go there.
I assume it's about money and funding.
Do you know out of the top 25 crime cities in America, how many of them are ran by a Democratic mayor? 21 of them. Sometimes it's 17, sometimes it's 21. Why do you think?
So what are you saying? That they're high crime because they're run by a Democratic?
Of course it is. Do you know since DC?
That is the logical fallacy.
But do you know DC?
I want to talk about the logical fallacy.
Do it. I want to hear. Please break down my argument.
It's the logical fallacy of post hoc ergo propter hoc.
Right.
After it, therefore, because of it. That
okay.
Because something happens after something happened doesn't mean that it caused it.
Ben, can you pull up what are the top 5 cities in America in crime? Pull up what are the top 5 cities in America in crime? In crime. Can you zoom in a little bit because my eyes, yeah. All right, Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis.
And boom. All right, Memphis, Tennessee, Democrat City. So Memphis, Tennessee, shout out my man Young Dolph. St. Louis, what was it? ESTG, Detroit, Michigan, Babyface Ray and them, Baltimore, Maryland. Yep, these are all blue, cities, by the way. Little Rock, Arkansas. I did not know Little Rock, Arkansas. I don't know if Little Rock, Arkansas is blue, to be honest. That might actually be a red one.
It's Detroit, Michigan, Baltimore, Maryland, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Blue,
can you do me a favor?
Blue.
Keep that page, and can you ask the same question? Who are the mayors of each city? I don't know this because we're just spitballing right now. So I don't know the answer. I may 5 of them may be Republican, and I may look like a fool right now. So do me a favor, Rob. Take each one of them, copy paste Paul Young in Memphis, Tennessee, and just put mayor next to it. Yeah, is that him? Can you go and see where he's at politically? Democratic Party, top right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Tashara Jones, mayor.
Democrat,
let's do the same thing. And again, I don't know.
I'm sorry, but as soon as you'd have seen the black, oh, come on, bro. You already know any black politician is most likely a Democrat. 90% of them are a Democrat. Let's keep it above.
Probably a Republican. Nope, she's a Democrat.
Okay,
let's go to the next one. Go to the next one.
I want to know what your point is. Let's assume they're all Democrats.
Nah, bro. The point is that you just try to say that, well, just because there's high crime in these Democratic cities don't mean that these Democrats cause high crime or their policies cause high crime. And I'm like, bro, what are you saying? Well, we can give you the top 5 cities with the highest crime. They're all Democrat. That's not coincidental.
Democratic. I mean,
I'm surprised Chicago wasn't on there.
Know that most cities.
It's called horrible policies. What's this one? Is this one a Republican?
Unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated. Can you go click on the.
It's like, I ain't gonna lie, man. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Firing. I ain't gonna lie. Bro, low-key cooking himself. Like, he's proving all of us more and more right as he talks.
Guy's profile. Let's go a little bit deeper. If you can go on his Wikipedia, zoom in. So Detroit, Michigan. I'm trying to go a little bit lower, Rob. Can you? Okay, there it is. Political party, Democrat. He just changed last year after Trump.
But I want
So
to know
he's-
what your point
Let's
is.
go to the next one. I'll make my point. Let's go to Brandon Scott, Baltimore, Maryland. Another Democrat. Let's go to the fifth one. What an interesting exercise this was. I wasn't even expecting to do this.
Democrat.
Boom. 545.
Democrat. Damn. 5 for 5.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
5 for 5. 5 for 5. And you know, bro, and Chicago's mayor, I'm not gonna say I'm surprised Chicago wasn't on there, but Chicago's mayor, like Democrat. Like LA's mayor, Democrat. Brooklyn's mayor, Democrat. These are all high crime cities. Democrat. Oh, shoot, we can even go as far as my own state, Cleveland, mayor, Democrat. Columbus, slightly high crime, mayor, Democrat. I mean, it is what it is.
545.
Y'all are just, bro, y'all are trash at running cities, okay? The Democrats, bro, I'm calling y'all out, bro. Y'all are trash at running cities. It's crazy that y'all even think y'all be good at running the nation.
So why do you think that is, though? By the way, DC, when you think about the biggest income disparity in America, you know what city is the biggest income disparity with the most people making over 200,000 and the most people making less than 20,000? It's DC. Can you look up when is the first time DC had a mayor?
And guys, if you have any questions, comments, disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just send in $2 and up. I'll go ahead and read it out loud and post it to the top of the screen and go ahead and engage with it. Appreciate the support. But if not, go ahead and double tap that screen for me and like the video. All right, let's keep it going.
When is the first time DC had a mayor? Let's look at this.
I'm happy to look at it, but I'm concerned that you're making the logical fallacy.
But let's look at this. When's the first time DC, first ever elected mayor of DC, Rob? Can you type in first ever elected mayor of DC? First ever elected mayor of DC. I think it's like 70s.
73. Walter Washington.
Okay, can you go on ChatGPT and ask, since 1973, how many Republican mayors has DC had? Zero. So here's my question for you. If all these people, look at that, Walter Washington, Democrat, Marion Barry, Democrat, Sharon King.
DC got hella high crime. What, bro? Y'all are trash at running cities. Trash.
Kelly, Democrat. Marion Barry again, Democrat. Anthony Williams, Democrat. Adrian Fenty, Democrat. Vincent Gray, Democrat. Muriel Bowser, Democrat. If they've had this city as a Democratic voter since 1975.
And you know what's even worse? It's like, bro, you got to remember, though, like, bro, turn it back on the people. Y'all are voting this in. Y'all keep voting this in. It's like, y'all don't look around the United States. You don't look across the nation and be like, you know what? All these other Democratic cities are doing bad just like we are. Why do we keep voting these people in? Like, and I'm looking at y'all too, like,
what?
Yeah, you see that it's not working out for other cities, but y'all continue to do the same as if y'all are just going to be the magical golden Democratic city? No, that's not how it works.
And they are so noble and they have such great policies and they're black. How come they haven't been able to fix it? Why?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
You don't think maybe it's bad policies? You don't think it's that maybe we have to try something else?
Well, like what?
So let me ask you, why do you think Trump got elected? Why do you think Trump won?
I think he won because the bottom 50% of the population is getting screwed by both parties.
Both parties?
Both parties.
Really?
Yes, I do, because of the way that our economy is structured, which means that virtually all the money goes to the top and virtually none of the money goes to the people on the bottom.
Why though?
Because of the laws and the regulations.
So why do you think so many blacks, why do you think so many Hispanics voted for Trump like we've never seen before? So why do you think the poor, low, middle income support for Trump skyrocketed, where Kamala Harris, who is, according to her, African-American, Jamaican, Indian, we don't know what she is, or Biden, why is it that even with her, she lost 7 battleground states and she lost the majority? Why do you think that is? Why do you think black people and Hispanics trusted a white guy, Trump, Republican, more than they trusted an African-American lady to solve their problem?
I think people were really unhappy with the status quo, and I think they voted for not the status quo. I actually believe that that if voting for Bernie was an option, he would have won
Against Trump?
Yeah,
No way.
because they're both against the status quo. They're both against. Well, I mean, they both say they're against corporations controlling the country.
Stop the cap.
I mean, I personally believe that it's in words only
Stop
in
the
terms
cap.
of Trump, but I think in terms of Bernie, I think he genuinely would want, would work on reducing corporate influence. I mean, the whole. I mean, when we talk about capitalism, I mean, capitalism ends up having a small number of people accumulate a huge amount of wealth.
Because a small number of people figure out that, you know what, let me start a business and work for myself. Yes. About 5% of people figure that out. I know, it's crazy. I'm like, what you mean that 5% of people just figure out that, oh, let me go start a business? Yes. Most people rather just go into the workforce. Actually, in school, they don't even teach you to start a business or work for yourself. That's not even the initiative they have put in your head. The initiative is get this education, copy and paste, go into the workforce and live your life. Now there's these select few people who says, I'm not trying to do that. And they go into business and they prosper that way. It's like, bro, how you get mad that somebody took a different route? Like, it's like, y'all hating. Stop hating.
And then you have the Supreme Court saying that, well, money's the same as free speech, and therefore we can't regulate spending in elections. And what we have in our country is a system of legalized bribery. And it used to be that the corporations and the rich and the wealthy were influencing legislation, and they were influencing who gets elected. And now they are who's getting elected. And I would rather see a representation of what the country actually is. I mean, the country is not just 100,000 really 100,000, or I don't know, 10,000 really, really wealthy people. The country represents a very broad swath, and a representative democracy, that's what there ought to be running the country. But we have elections that are financed by millionaires, billionaires, and we end up with a government that favors that class of people.
Look, G, the only thing I agreed with this man is I don't like lobbying. No, yeah, I mean, bro, nobody likes lobbying. We all think lobbying is corrupt. Everybody on both sides, like, bro, Democrat, Republican, we all agree that, businesses and their interests shouldn't be able to influence politics. Yes, businesses' interests should not be able to influence politics at all, especially if they're able to add, monetarily, if they're able to monetarily compensate people to, sway policies in their direction. Like, yeah, that's not it.
Include Bernie?
Does that include Bernie?
Was Bernie funded by rich people?
No,
he wasn't. Do you remember that exchange when Hexet asked him a question? I don't know who it was, Rob, when he says, I don't know who it was. Somebody asked him and said, I'm sorry, your campaign, 45% of your campaign was from Big Pharma. I don't know if you remember that one. Do you remember that one when he was...
No, I don't remember. Well, who's 45% of
I don't know what the percentage.
Whose campaign was from Big
Bernie
Pharma?
Sanders.
No, that is absolutely totally
we'll find
100, 1,000% incorrect.
Well, I mean, he got very upset about it because, but
I mean, hey, they both confident in it. He's like, nah, not Bernie, not my man Bernie. Never
with him. Even with him, here's a socialist that's worth $10 million. He's a pretty rich guy. He used to say millionaires and billionaires. Now he no longer says millionaires and billionaires. Why did he drop millionaires?
What?
Ban.
Because he wrote a book and he got $1 million or whatever.
You can.
I mean, but I was helping on Bernie's campaign. Okay. And
I think he got screwed, by the way, just so you know, by Hillary Clinton.
He did.
Ask me.
Absolutely.
And I like Bernie.
I do too.
Yeah.
And
I just don't think he's good for the economy. I really like Bernie. I think he's a good guy. I just don't think he's good for the economy.
I think he would be good for an economy that works for all Americans instead of just the upper crust like you and me.
I think in 2000, when you were selling your company, you wouldn't have voted for Bernie.
Absolutely, I would have voted for Bernie. I totally would have voted for Bernie. I
Capital-
voted for Bernie when he was mayor, when he first ran for mayor of Burlington.
If capital gains went to 80% and you sold your company, you're okay with that?
Yes, I am okay with that because I do not believe that we should have a country where what 0.1% of the population owns 90% of the wealth.
You're part of the 0.1%, and you don't want to give up your wealth. You're still keeping it. Here's your friend Bernie. Rob, can you play this clip? Watch this clip.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies; it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would no. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country.
Hold on. So all the workers from all over this country just happen to work in a pharmaceutical company. Really, Bernie? That's what you're gonna go with? Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie, you're caught. He caught you. You were trying to grill this man. You should have sat your ass down and just hit him gave him the yes. But you wanted to grill him, and he got you. He said, "Yeah, bro, you were one of the main people I'm talking about who's taking this money." Like, bro, you're caught.
Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate
Bernie,
tax.
you were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but
Bernie didn't like
you
that
have not answered. Last question.
So again, the hypocrisy in politics is a little bit frustrating because I understand Bernie says, well, we got to do the millionaires and billionaire class. The moment he becomes a millionaire, he drops the millionaire. He just wants to bash the billionaires now. I don't want to take any money. 1.5 million comes. The eventual challenge is the hypocrisy that shows up. And I think that's the part that Americans are tired of it. They're just sick of the games that politicians play. And they're eventually saying they're done with it.
You know, when I was working with Bernie, he was saying billionaires should not exist. And, that struck me as kind of weird. I mean, I said, why shouldn't billionaires exist? Why shouldn't we have billionaires? And then I realized that nobody needs that kind of money. No.
It's because he's a hater. Just say what it is, bro. They be hating. They pocket watching, and they haters, okay? Stop hating. Stop pocket watching, okay? It ain't your money. Stop worrying about it. If you want to earn yourself some money, go out there and make a product or a service and do your damn best, and you'll be somewhere where they're at. Worry about your damn money, okay? It's not yours.
And how can you accumulate that kind of wealth when you've got so many other people that are barely getting by? Why shouldn't we have a system? It is kind of peculiarly American. I don't believe that kind of spread exists in a lot of other countries, in a lot of European countries.
Yeah, because we actually believe in free enterprise and free market, and we allow you to build it as big as you want. And here's the crazy thing, Ben.
I mean, yeah, when you don't have free enterprise, that's how you get an oligarchy, my friend. Yeah, that's how you get only a couple people who take over the entire industry. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like they don't know what they're really asking for. That's the problem with a lot of socialists. Like, you kind of don't know what you're asking for, to be honest.
Very crazy thing.
I mean, there's free enterprise in any of the Scandinavian countries.
At the level,
where's guest dude when you need him?
That we have, not at the levels that we have. We recognize guys like you who, even if you're a socialist, we recognize guys like you who took a ice cream company.
Hey, speaking of ice cream, you got a spoon? I mean,
I'm
this
good.
shit's
I'm good with it. I got you a spoon.
Well, I don't see the spoon.
Where'd you? Humberto probably took the spoon and it's having ice cream in the back end. So I got mine over here. Humberto, did you leave the spoon or what happened? Okay, which one do you think I should try? Tell me which one I should try.
What
We got the chocolate fudge. We got dirt cake. What's this one here?
Wow, interesting.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Well, chocolate fudge brownie is interesting because
By the way, is it true that you can't taste flavors? You just taste the mushiness?
texture.
Is that serious?
I'm very texture forward person.
But you can't taste any of it.
Well, I mean, I can kind of taste it, but not the way you can, not the way normal people can. So
let's see.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Is it?
You're not taking.
I mean, it's pretty much he's saying, and this pause before I say this, but he kind of likes it when it feels good in his mouth. It's pretty much what he's saying.
The chocolate fudge.
Which one you want me? You want me to try? I'll try this. No, I'll try this. Bam.
I mean, the nice thing about the chocolate fudge brownie is that the brownies are made by the Grayston Bakery in Yonkers, New York, a low-income area, and the bakery is owned by a religious organization whose purpose.
God,
it's good shit, isn't it?
Oh my.
Oh God, see, he tastes it. I ain't gonna lie, that mother feel good in your mouth, don't it?
God. Oh my God.
So the purpose of the bakery is to provide jobs and job training for people who.
You know what? After this ice cream, I'm a socialist. That's it. I'm
shut
done.
out of it. There
I'm
you
done.
go.
This ice cream converted me.
All right. All right.
I was watching Manchurian Candidate last night, Rob, with the kids. And is that the one about MK Ultra or whatever?
Yes.
Listen, they put something in this ice cream that causes you to consider Bernie Sanders as a candidate. It's working on me. Watch, second. By this one, I may even look at this.
Nicely done.
AOC. Oh my God. Holy moly. By the way, all jokes aside, this is absolutely delicious.
I'm weak. Ben and Jerry, so good to make you a socialist, man. It's like, oh man, one bite of it, you're just thinking like, you know what? If I get more of this ice cream, the rich should pay more. Fuck it, bro. If I get more of this ice cream, the rich should pay more. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. You're right. There doesn't need to be more rich people. The more and more you eat the ice cream, the more and more socialist you become.
Well, it's at exactly the right temperature. It's perfectly tempered.
Oh my God. This is ridiculous. Now, let me ask you, what do you think about Haagen-Dazs?
It's really good ice cream. It's not the best, but it's really good. It's in there.
Who are these guys? But I've never seen this one. Is it?
I don't know about Tillamook.
Tillamook. Okay, somebody brought Tillamook.
Hey, do you know that chocolate chip cookie dough was invented by Ben & Jerry's?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean,
Ben, what a capitalist
That's
you are.
Banger. I ain't gonna lie, I do love cookie dough ice cream. Like, oh yeah.
What a great.
There's a social form of capitalism. There's a form of capitalism.
And you did it. How many jobs did you guys create? How many jobs did you create?
Who knows?
Now, honestly, how many employees you got right now? Ben and Jerry's. How many total employees?
It's a division of Unilever. I mean,
how many employees does Ben and Jerry's have? Dude, it's like the best social program is the job you create. Let me eat this one. So this one is what? This is the cheesecake? Oh my God. I'm not going to lie. This is ridiculous. Oh my, 1,700 employees. Jeez. That's great job. That's jobs. You changed people's lives, Ben.
Amazing.
And by the way, you know what's crazy? Do you know who recognized you guys in 1986? Which Republican president recognized you?
Which one would recognize me? I was there, man.
Ronald Reagan,
it was
sir.
a Rose Garden
Dude,
ceremony.
That's crazy.
We were the U.S. Small Business People of the Year.
Is that it? Is that the picture?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Tell me about the experience. How cool was that?
An Italian waiter's jacket that I had to buy really quick the morning before. And, it's a Rose Garden ceremony. What the current guy he's talking about.
All right, now let's move into this Doge debate. I ain't gonna lie, that was a good conversation on socialism. And it's funny, though, to hear a billionaire actually debate on the behalf of socialism. It's kind of funny. It's interesting to watch. I ain't even gonna lie. He had very few good points. I'll tell you that. All right, let's get into this debate.
Past histories.
I'm gonna buy because it's a great product, as good as it gets.
The president went out on the south lawn of the White House and turned the White House into a car dealership so he could help his top donor sell cars.
This is Trump derangement syndrome all over again.
Ceasefire, Ukraine. Hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed.
This is not the time to be litigating past histories about Putin, whether you're right or not.
It was a joke. You know it was a joke. The entire world watched that in shock.
My all-time favorite member of Congress, Dan Crenshaw. I always thought he was a freak and a warmonger.
Really? Yeah.
Weirdo, yeah.
You know, Tucker's a silver spoon-fed trust fund baby.
Well, I like Tucker.
I'm still like a baby trans, you know, only 3 years in.
Once you've gone in on crazy, you might as well go all the way.
Well, like it or not, this is President Trump's world, and we're all just living in it. In the past 24 hours alone, Trump's boomerang tariff threats have rattled markets and sparked fresh warnings about a trade war and even a recession. His threats to annex America's northern neighbor have rattled Canadians. His maverick stance on Ukraine's war has prompted President Zelensky to agree for an immediate 30-day ceasefire, putting them all firmly back into Putin's court. The president even found time to turn the White House lawn into a car lot for Elon Musk's Tesla, whose business has taken a pounding over his cost-cutting mission for the federal government. Anti-Musk protesters have been vandalizing Teslas and leading calls for a boycott. Trump says he's not buying it. Quite the opposite, in fact.
That's wreck. That is wreck as hell. I was like, so y'all that mad that y'all gotta go vandalize cars? Like, man, that makes no sense. Like I said, and you wonder, I mean, like, bro, BLM, ring any bells? I'm not surprised.
Well, I'm gonna buy, and I'm gonna buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets. And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. And I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot.
Well, many people are upset about this, of course. Cable news is repeatedly showing an apparent gotcha photo of the president's script revealing a Tesla price list and finance deals to buy one for $299 a month. It's worth pointing out that millions of people now know you can buy a Tesla for $299 a month, which might have been, of course, the whole point. Well, critics say the Trump wrecking ball is sowing chaos and hardship. Supporters say he's striking deals, selling wheels, and most importantly of all, delivering on his promises for peace. Well, joining me to debate, there's the two men with very different opinions on the president's way of doing business. The CEO of S.E.T, Mehdi Hasan, and Republican Congressman for Texas, Dan Crenshaw. Well, welcome to both of you. Been looking forward to you two locking horns in a Piers Morgan Uncensored debate. So thank you for both agreeing to this. Mehdi, I mean, you've had 50 days of Donald Trump's presidency. How are you coping? How's your spleen? I don't know. I haven't checked my spleen. It's not great. I think those of us who warned that Trump would be chaotic, Trump would be corrupt, Trump would be autocratic. I think even those of us who warned that for much of last year have been surprised by just how corrupt, chaotic, and autocratic he's been. I don't know if we're going to talk about what happened in New York on Sunday. That was pretty shocking with the detention and disappearance of a lawful permanent resident. Yeah, we will later. All the attacks on the press that you and I have discussed. Before, the attacks on the press. This show is called Piers Uncensored. He's launched an open war on the media, on free speech, and of course the economy now. Again, I didn't predict that 2 months in, Trump himself would be refusing to rule out a recession. I knew he would harm the economy, but even Trump himself can't rule out a recession. So on multiple fronts, the economy, democracy, free press, it's pretty bad. Dan, your response to that?
Well, if you're going to accuse somebody of corruption, you might want to give a little bit more detail, right? Or a war on free speech. I mean, what does that mean? These are just words that actually do have legal meaning, but you don't have any legal arguments. So I don't know what you mean by corruption. There's really no evidence of that. War on free speech, there's just no evidence of that. There was evidence of it from the last administration, that's for sure. So look, this is Trump derangement syndrome all over again. Now, if we didn't have 4 years to look at, where the Trump economy actually did quite well, Trump tax cuts proved to be a boom to the economy, and even after a pandemic, Trump's policies were getting the economy right back on track. So that when Biden took over, he was enjoying GDP growth as opposed to decline. Despite Democrats all over the country trying to shut down the economy, and leftists all over the world trying to shut down the economies. So it's definitely overstated, the extent of these catastrophes by far. If you can say one thing about Donald Trump, he's going to make good on his campaign promises. So there should be no surprises here about how he thinks some trade practice.
And like I said, I just cannot stand the fact that they just do not want to acknowledge Biden's administration. Like I said, the Dems, they've completely forgot about Biden. In my opinion, they forgot about him. They have forgot about this man. 4 years of shadow governing of who knows who's in charge because it wasn't Biden, but they forgot all about it. And now they're just pretending like Trump has just been in here the whole time. That's what's so crazy. The man has been in here maybe like 50 days, a little bit over 50 days. It hadn't even been, 3 months. And y'all are expecting lower egg prices. Y'all are expecting the economy to be fixed. It's like, bro, we just got out of Biden. We just got out of Biden shooting the American people in the foot over and over again. We just got out of that. Y'all need to chill out.
Practices are unfair. He uses tariffs as a negotiation tool to get better deals for the United States, whether that's trade deals or whether that's things he wants other countries to do, like Mexico, for instance, getting the border and going after cartels, which they are doing. These things are working. So I think a lot of the sky is falling rhetoric is pretty unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, Mehdi, I'm surprised that you're surprised that Donald Trump is being Donald Trump, or that, as Dan just said, is largely delivering on exactly what he told the American people he wanted to do, and he won the election very convincingly. So when you say he's being corrupt, what is the actual evidence of corruption?
So let me deal with a few things there, because Dan brought up a few things, and it's funny that Dan's saying words like corrupt have legal meaning. Of course, they don't. They also have a meaning that everyone understands, and he knows this because he and his party accused Joe Biden of corruption for years. Hold on. You had a long answer. No, I do mean corrupt. No, you don't. No, you don't, because you and your party accused Joe Biden of many crimes which you couldn't find any evidence of. You accused all sorts of things about Hunter Biden and corruption, which pale into insignificance with what the Trump family's been doing on the crypto
DOJ
front.
Did. There's actually a case against Hunter Biden. What are you talking about?
Whoa. I mean, yeah, the laptop's real. Yes, there's actually pictures of Hunter Biden, messing around with hookers and smoking crack. Like, yes, it exists. You can actually look up the pictures. It's kind of wild. But on that point, though, it's like, bro, they tried to smear Trump's kids and they couldn't find anything. They tried to come out. All of his kids cannot find a damn thing. Bro, Hunter Biden exposed himself.
Showed an intro.
I can give you an example of
criminal sitting in the president. You're going to start signing. Now we like the DOJ.
Student loans.
Well, no, surely the point. Hang on, look, guys. If I could just say,
hold on.
If I could just say, hang on 1 second. Hey, guys,
I would DOJ also brought the DOJ also indicted Trump.
I would ask you both.
DOJ also multiple.
Can I just ask, if you talk over each other, nobody can hear what either of you says, just to remind you.
Well, I didn't interrupt Dan.
No, but I just want to say this.
But he interrupted me 3 times in my first sentence.
Okay, look, just allow each other to respond.
Because you acknowledged, because you pointed at me. All you asked were a simple question. What are the legal charges of corruption against Donald Trump? Go.
I didn't say anything about legal charges. The person who has there are many legal charges against Donald Trump. He's using the DOJ to make them go away, as you know, in a corrupt fashion. Piers showed us a clip at the top of the show. I don't think
the DOJ made all them felonies to appear in a corrupt fashion. They never want to see it when they do it.
American president has ever done what Donald Trump did yesterday. His top donor gave him hundreds of millions of dollars during the election. The New York Times is reporting that he just gave another $100 million to Trump political operations. And the president went out on the south lawn of the White House and turned the White House into a car dealership so he could help his top donor sell cars. I mean, that is astonishing on multiple levels. I've criticized Republican presidents in the past. I can't think of a single Republican president who's done something that so corrupt and pathetic on Musk's behalf, by the way, but corrupt on Trump's behalf, to do that for a donor, to sell cars on the White House lawn, to put out tweets saying, I'm buying a Tesla. Yeah, for your top donor. If Joe Biden had done it, you would be screaming from the rooftops, as with your party, you'd be filing articles of impeachment. So give us a rest on the kind of patronizing stuff about exact language. Corruption is at the core of this Trump White House. Look at the crypto money. The guy is running. The guy just pardoned
The guy just pardoned a crypto guy who the DOJ was investigating, who's put money into the Trump family crypto scheme. We could go down the list of all the various corrupt things he's done. On free speech, by the way, he's called for multiple journalists to be fired. President shouldn't be calling for columnists. Do you support him calling for Eugene Robinson to be fired? Do you support him calling for MSNBC to lose its licenses because he doesn't like it? I mean, this is absurd. No president has gone around and attacked journalists in the way that Donald Trump and Elon Musk have attacked journalists.
Well,
Elon
actually,
Musk
the biggest
the top
attack
guy in your
well,
administration.
actually, before I go to Dan, hang on, Mehdi.
Because I had to look up that information, and I had to look up like what total spending of presidential candidates and major political parties in the U.S. from 1984 to 2024 is kind of strange, but the Democrats has kind of been on a spending spree since 2004. The Democrats have been spending way more than the Republicans on their presidential candidates. I mean, in 2020, I mean, y'all really took the cake with Biden. Like, bro, y'all really took the cake with Biden. Who'da knew? Who'da knew? But yeah, when it comes to who's getting the most donations in their campaign funds, when it comes to millions of dollars being backed into candidates, it's the Democrats that are actually getting that love, or getting that love from the billionaires, not the Republicans. You know, since 2004.
I need to finish
keep
the point.
talking.
Elon
We're gonna
Musk
Dan.
called. No, I'm going to finish my point.
The president.
I'm going to finish my point. Elon Musk called for CBS journalists to be locked up in prison. Does Dan Crenshaw support the locking up of my fellow journalists?
All right, I'm going to come to Dan. I'll come to Dan now.
I don't
Dan,
even remember
respond
Elon
to
saying
all
that. But political first of all,
Well, he did
political
say it. Whether
rhetoric
you
is
remember
also
or not
free
is
speech.
irrelevant. He said it, Dan.
I'm
I
not
don't
Elon
remember it.
Musk,
That's going to
so-
be your defense. He said it. Well, he's the head of your government right now. He's the top guy.
He's a person who has the same rights to free speech as you do. Okay, and Democrats
Do you support
call for
him
us
calling
to
for the
be-
locking up of journalists?
I
I said there's a war on free speech. You said there wasn't. I cited a guy in your government who's called for the locking up of journalists. You wanted receipts.
I asked you for what you mean by corruption. You gave no legal arguments. So for you, corruption just means exactly what every president does, right? Which is supporting their.
Hold on,
their
I'll give you an argument right now. I think yes, I would like a Department of Justice that stopped pardoning people who have given money to Donald Trump and his family.
American homeowner.
Hold on.
His own deserve.
I think that's corrupt.
Would you like to stop? Well, would you like to stop Joe Biden also preemptively pardoning so many people, including half his own family,
I'm not
to
here to
prevent
defend
criminal
Joe Biden.
inquiries into them?
Dan
I mean,
Crenshaw's here
this
to
idea it's only Trump that would do that.
Dan Crenshaw's here to defend Donald Trump. You know, Piers, that I have many criticisms of Joe Biden, and one of them is, yes, his family and Hunter Biden. But what Joe Biden did pales into insignificance with what Trump has done in 2 months. I mean,
all right, well, let me ask Dan. Let me ask Dan. Dan, on the
Elon Musk role, Elon Musk is an unvetted head of a government.
Hold on, bro. On the way out, right? This man Biden gave long-range missiles to Ukraine. On the way out, this man shut down offshore drilling. Bro, like what? On the way out, he took out 2 million or I think like millions and millions of chickens and drove up egg prices. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, you're acting like this, like Biden has not done anything at all. Like, he hasn't just like set this up for what we are now. Like, he literally set everything up for what we're dealing with now.
But department.
Okay, let me ask Dan. Dan, when you saw the scenes on the White House lawn there, did you feel entirely comfortable for the reasons that Mehdi said? You've got someone who donated hundreds of billions of dollars, obviously, to Trump. He pretty much helped get him elected. He's now in there as an unelected guy with enormous power, it seems, over this Doge thing that he's doing, popular with some, unpopular with others. But turning it in, as he said, to a Tesla sale room, did you feel comfortable that the White House is being used like that?
I don't feel comfortable with it. I don't feel uncomfortable with it. Look, first of all, let's say something. Every single person in the administration is unelected, and they have a great deal of power. The only person who's elected is President Trump. So everyone works for President Trump. I think there's a really strange sort of villainization of Elon Musk. Oh, he has too much power. He has this. He has whatever power the president decides to give him. And that's that. First of all, let's say that. Also, there's a long history and precedent for presidents bringing in their supporters to the White House. Joe Biden gives out medals of freedom or whatever those things are called to various celebrities who have helped him, to various big donors like the Soros family who have helped him. How is this any different? Now, you could argue you don't like it or do like it, but there's a ton of precedent for it. Every ambassador let's talk about the ambassador in the United Kingdom. It is every single time. It is not somebody who's been at State Department for a long time. It is always somebody of the president's choosing. That's who it is. It is usually someone who is friendly with the president. Does that make it corrupt? I don't know. It's not legally corrupt, but that is what happens. It's normal for every president, and you're just making you for some reason see it through a different lens when Trump does the exact same things that Biden would do.
Mehdi, let me ask you about Elon Musk.
Biden having people at the White House.
Hold on, can I respond?
Well, Mehdi, yeah, but Mehdi, I would ask you this. But Mehdi, do you have intrinsically, Mehdi, do you have a problem with Elon Musk and the Doge campaign to eradicate federal government waste, superfluous spending?
Right.
Do you have a problem intrinsically with the concept of what they're doing?
So this keeps happening now. Dan says something and then you add something, so I can't deal with multiple things. I'm going to deal with Dan first. Dan says that this is all normal and we have precedent for it. Dan's being disingenuous. Elon Musk is running a government department. He is not vetted. He has not gone through Senate confirmation hearings like cabinet officials and ambassadors. George Soros has never led any kind of government department. If he did, Republican heads would explode. He's never run anything in government, nor is Alexander Soros. Musk is literally standing next to the president. He is telling cabinet secretaries what to do. He's attending cabinet meetings. They're going to court. Dan's not telling you this, but there's literal court cases going on right now to determine the status of Elon Musk and Doge. And by the way, government lawyers are telling the judges he's not the head of Doge. Donald Trump stood in front of Congress and said he is the head of Doge. Maybe Dan can tell us today if Elon Musk, who hasn't been vetted by Congress, is the head of Doge. What's so sad to see is members of Congress like Dan.
Why are y'all treating Doge now like it's his own official department now? Isn't that kind of like, they're like, oh, well, he should have went through a hearing like the defense secretary or the Department of Homeland Security. So bro, what? So you're pretty much saying he should have got, the RFK Jr., he should have got the Tulsi Gabbard, Cash Patel treatment. That's what y'all wanted from Elon Musk. And you know what? If we'd have given him that treatment, he'd have still got confirmed. I'm be real with you. And I'm pretty sure he'd made some pretty good points. But if that's what y'all want, I think y'all should just set that up. If y'all want to grill Elon Musk in Congress, then set that up. I'm pretty sure he would be all right with it. But it seems like y'all ducking the smoke. Y'all just want to lie about what this man's doing. Talking about he's cutting Social Security when he's really just cutting the wasteful spending out of Social Security. But hey, we kind of see how y'all are working right now.
Just completely abdicating their responsibilities as a co-equal branch of government and deferring to both Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's kind of embarrassing to see. And I haven't finished my point. I didn't interrupt you. So when I finish, you can come back in. I know it's 2 against 1, so let me deal with Piers now. Piers, on Doge itself. Yes, I have a problem. Well, we're both throwing stuff at me at the same time, so let me deal with them. Yeah, poor me. It's fine. I'm used to it. Piers is asking me about Doge. Let me deal with Doge. Doge is a joke of an outfit, right? Do we all want to get rid of waste in government? Of course I do. I did a long monologue on my show about why we should deal with the Pentagon, which fails an audit every year and waste.
Here's the thing, though. They sound so stupid when they bring up the Pentagon because it's like, bro, we're going there too. But why are y'all complaining about USAID and Social Security? Kind of seems like y'all knew something was going on in there, and y'all complicit in something, but y'all know y'all not complicit in, the defense. Makes sense. It makes sense. So pretty much, the Defense Department, y'all know y'all ain't did nothing with that, but the financial, the USAID, oh yeah, y'all hands is all over that. The Social Security, yep, y'all fraud hands is all over that. So it is kind of funny how they're picking and choosing what they want to be looked into. No, let the whole thing be looked into. That's what y'all Democrats don't understand. We want every department to be looked into.
Billions and trillions of dollars, right? I want to deal with corporate welfare. I want to deal with people who, have conned the government. Of course we do. But that is not what Doge is doing, right? Doge is a joke, chaotic outfit. It claims to have found fraud, Piers, not just waste, fraud. And yet Dan gave me a lecture on precise terms. Fraud? Has anyone been charged with fraud? That's a crime. Elon Musk has found no fraud. Because if he had found fraud, people would be arrested or charged by the DOJ right now. We've seen no evidence of fraud. So that's been a lie from Musk. As for waste, And
shout out to my man Green Bean. He says, peak hypocrisy right now. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. It is like dang. I mean, dog, are you serious? Y'all said everything y'all blaming Donald Trump for now is pretty much what Biden's caused. But y'all is failing to see that. Like I said, to the Democrats, I'm not gonna lie, Biden just never existed. It was all a lie. As soon as we tell them, what about Biden? Like Biden who? Biden, what you mean? Oh yeah, you Trump guys are delusional. Yeah, now you're over here talking about fake presidents. Watch.
You know this, Piers. You've talked about it on the show. $8 billion they claim to have found. It was $8 million. They said they found $250 million.
My bad, Green Bean. Appreciate the support, man. Shout out for starting us off. Shout out, Green Bean. Let me go ahead and get you shout out. And then you also want to have any question, comments, jokes you want to get read out loud and post it to the top of the screen like my man Green Bean. Send in $2 and up, and I'll go ahead and read it out loud and post it to the top and also engage with it. All right, guys, let's go.
$1 billion of waste at the Social Security Administration. It was $500,000. They triple counted a $665 million contract. The Wall Street Journal, that lefty bastion, has found so many mistakes and exaggerations in what they found. They've been absolutely harming the US government. They got rid of people who were looking after nuclear weapons and then tried to hire them back. They got rid of people who were trying to fight Ebola and then tried to hire them back. They got rid of people who were trying to fight bird flu and then tried to hire them back. They fired veterans at the Department of Veterans Affairs who were manning the crisis line for veterans. Dan is a veteran, served the country, should be outraged. And then they tried to hire them back too. The whole thing is a disaster and a joke.
Okay, Dan.
I want to say one thing about the having automakers at the White House. You know, in August of 2021, Joe Biden had a bunch of automakers celebrating electric vehicles at the White House. He left out one in particular because he's not a political ally. He left out Tesla, one of the biggest makers of EVs. So again, this stuff happens. As far as like what Doge is.
And I always just say, like, bro, y'all say there's a conflict of interest with Elon going with Trump, and I'm like, not really. Elon would have made a bigger bag if he'd went with Biden. Bro, Biden doing an EV mandate. He's the highest selling EV car. He has the highest selling EV car in the world. Bro, Biden would have basically put Elon Musk at the top of our auto industry instantly. Just with the mandate. He done set everything up for Elon. All Elon had to do was come in with the cosign. He'd have been good. He'd have been rolling in the money. Bro, it might have been a trillionaire by now. But he stood on truth. He stood on, well, I'm going to be real with you, the Constitution, because let's be real. If Biden would have came in and got that EV mandate, I ain't going to lie, we'd have been screwed with energy prices. It'd have been over for us. I ain't even going to lie. Like everything going on electricity and all that good stuff, trust me, it would not have held strong.
His role is, and then I want to get into what Congress's role is here. So the president has been very clear. Cabinet secretaries are the ones who actually fire. Doge makes recommendations. That's how they have it set up. I realize that all of this is new, but it was what he ran on. It was what the American people wanted. We are asking questions too, right? We also want to figure it out. It's good. The courts are another co-equal branch of government that will have their complaints about it. That let's let this process play out, and let us all agree on the fact that there is a huge amount of waste and bloat in a lot of our bureaucracies. We talk about firing a couple thousand VA employees. Put that in the context, there's about 480,000 VA employees. 400, like there's a lot. Okay, so we're talking about
to fire another 80,000. They're about to fire another 80,000.
We'll see.
Bro, for some of y'all who's saying that Elon bought the U.S., I'm like, hold on. You telling me that Elon spent $200 million on a country that controls what, $6.8 trillion?
You stupid.
Bro, make it make sense. I mean, what? Y'all forget how much money we control, right? Or how much money the Congress controls. You know, you feel me? $6.8 trillion, and you think we gave it away for what, 200 million? Like, bro,
you stupid.
And we'll see. Look, I've used the VA in multiple cities. There is a lot of bloat. There's a lot of people who would. There's a lot of people who work at the VA who would be happy to see half their coworkers fired because
Elon got little money compared to what the U.S. got.
They know they don't do anything. I've heard that from VA employees. This isn't that crazy of an idea. The sky is not falling. And then again, these secretaries still have the power. President Trump made that very clear just last week. So like we can all take a step back, realize that this is what he ran on. This is what the American people wanted. This notion of Doge and government efficiency is indeed still popular with the American people. There are going to be problems associated with going this fast.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to fix those problems. That's okay.
Can I respond?
Well, quickly, because I want to turn to other subjects, but quickly, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so on Doge, very quickly then, on the Doge issues, I heard Dan say this before, that Elon Musk is not firing people, cabinet secretaries are. Well, that's news to cabinet secretaries, because Sean Duffy at a recent cabinet blow-up called out Musk for trying to get rid of his air traffic controllers, and they had a row about it. So the transport secretary thinks Elon Musk is coming after his vital staff. Well, they're not. They're the ones who are feeling pressure from Musk. Everyone's having to bow the knee to Musk. It's funny. I wrote down this headline from CNN from last week: Republicans push Musk to let Congress vote on Doge cuts. It's embarrassing to see Dan's party having to go cap in hand. Please, Mr. Billionaire, who's not elected to anything, please let us vote on your agenda. And as for Doge being popular, the poll out today. As for the poll, hold on, you had your piece. Let me answer, because Piers is rushing me on. The poll out today from CNN shows that the Doge, Musk is super unpopular. He's more unpopular than Trump. He's more unpopular than Vance. This is not a popular agenda. And this is not what people voted for. People did not vote for the annexation of Canada. He didn't mention Canada on the election campaign trail. And they did not vote for cuts to Social Security and Medicare, which Musk on Fox Business said this.
Cuts of wasteful spending. So, like I said, y'all not getting it right. If you're going to talk about what he's doing, please state what he's doing correctly. Because y'all frame it as, oh, he's cutting Social Security, but no, he's cutting the wasteful spending out of Social Security that's going to Social Security numbers aged 200 plus. So yeah, like you're telling me getting that out and probably, let's see if we could reallocate it to raise people's Social Security payments, something that would sound like something that y'all Democrats would want. You would think y'all be on board. But it's kind of crazy how y'all not on board with this. Like, bro, cutting wasteful spending, making sure the government's being accountable, all that good stuff. It's like, kind of makes it sound like you guys are the one who's doing the wasteful spending and who don't want to be held accountable.
This week, that's the next big thing to eliminate. We're going to cut 700 billion from Medicare and Social Security. No one voted for that. It'll be a disaster for the Republicans if they let Musk do that.
I mean, the thing I would say, Dan, that would be slightly concerning me if I'm Donald Trump is that the poll approval numbers for what's going on with Doge are falling quite quickly and significantly. And, Trump, he loves his polls.
And that's the problem with the Social Security fraud is that how is it even possible? Like Social Security, well, shout out to Steph. The way Steph explained it is they monitored the Social Security, applicants, well, not applicants, but receivers' payments. They monitor the payments pretty strictly. So for them to monitor, the people's payments, but not to monitor these people's payments who, I don't know, like maybe who might just maybe sitting in the account because they're no longer here, or they don't find it strange that, like I said, Social Security, they be looking over these transactions, or they don't find it strange that, I don't know, this Social Security number has been recycled a couple of times. Like, nobody found that strange. Like, we all know how Social Security works, and that's why this is honestly fraudulent, because it shouldn't even be like this. It's like, bro, there's no way these fraudulent payments shouldn't even happen due to the way or due to the structure of Social Security and how we receive, or how people receive it, how people sign up for it, how people get it and qualify, and how they receive it. This should have almost been impossible.
His own approval is taking a hit as well. At some stage, if those numbers continue to fall,
the most unpopular president for 70 years.
Well, if those numbers continue to fall, then Trump at some stage is going to stop it, isn't he?
Yeah, he very well might. And this is the only point I wanted to jump in and make about Congress's role in this, as you berate me as if I'm Doge spokesperson or Trump spokesperson. I don't have all the details. I'm a member of Congress. So quick civics lesson: co-equal branch of government. We make laws. We write laws. We send them to the president's desk for him to sign and then implement those laws. There is only one person who is in charge of the executive branch, and that is the president. You know what Doge doesn't do? You know what they can't do? They can't look at my employees. They can't look at anybody in the legislative branch's employees, and they're not, because they can't. They can look at
they can shut down. Hold on, they can shut down government departments that Congress created. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with that, Congressman? They want to shut, for example, Trump and Musk want to shut down the Department of Education. That's Congress. They want to shut down the Department of Education. They are winding it down.
Right. Well, they can change a lot within the Department of Education. Legally, can they shut it down? That's been tried before. It doesn't work. Like, everybody can calm down. And if we want to talk about Department of Education, like, what is the Department of Education? It has about 6,000 or 4,000 employees. It's really just a pass-through for grants and student loans. One of the reasons conservatives talk about the Department of Education and wanting to shut it down over time is because it really has nothing to do with education. It's just a pass-through for grants and loans. Which
but the point, it was created by Congress, as was USAID.
Well, Musk proudly said
Well,
he fed
USAID isn't being
USAID
shut
into the
down
wood
either, though.
chipper.
Like,
That was a
it's
congressionally
inaccurate.
Oh, come on.
Okay,
Musk
well, let's talk
himself
about-
said I
let's
fed
talk
it
about
into a wood
USAID then.
chipper.
Let me. I'm
They
happy to give
cancelled
you a
aid
civics
overnight. By the way, when you
lesson
say the
on
sky is, when you say the sky is
I'm
not,
happy
well,
to
I'll give you a
civics lesson on
humanitarian
how
lesson, Dan.
USAID works, if you'd like
Children
me
are
to.
dying now from polio and malnutrition and malaria because USAID cut off aid overnight. No one voted for that. And when you tell me the sky's not,
that did not happen. Like I said, they keep saying that, bro. We did not cut any type of medical services to nobody. Bro, I don't know how much time Trump got to say it. I don't know how much time the experts got to say it, but it is crazy how they'll come on here. These Democrats will come on here and keep saying that, like, oh yes, he's stealing from old ladies and people with disabilities. Like, bro, get the hell out of here.
falling in. That is actually not true.
No one
Kids are
voted for
literally
those
suffering as we
programs to
speak
begin with.
in Uganda and Ukraine and Sudan.
Let me
So
explain
I don't
to
know
you
what you're talking about when you say
USAID
sky's
is.
not falling in. It's the height of cruelty what your administration and your party has done to children in war zones and conflict zones across the world. What was done to USAID was disgusting.
Okay. So first of all, when Congress authorizes USAID and appropriates for it, there is a top line appropriation. It is always up to the administration to designate programs within that. We do not write in the whatever program for whatever X country. We do not write that into the legislation or appropriation. And when you go through some of these programs that the Biden administration had, $70,000 for some transgender opera in Colombia, there is room for some skepticism about what USAID is doing. Like it's a silly example.
How about the Gaza
but it's an
condoms
example.
that Trump and Musk lied about? Have they apologized for that lie? How about the Gaza condoms?
Some of these,
actually, yes, they did. They did say they were wrong, and they apologized.
Your
Look, the
administration
point is
lied about Gaza condoms. Trump has not apologized
I'm not part
for
of the
lying.
administration. How many civics lessons do you need? I'm a
He's your
legislator.
president.
I'm not part of the administration.
Nice try, Dan. You're part of the Republican Party.
I want to change. I want to change.
Plenty of space
Come on.
for the
Let me
administration
change.
What have you
go through
voted?
line by
Come on.
line.
Don't talk
and
over
pause.
each other,
They haven't
please.
gutted anything.
Let me
They've
change
paused- they've
topic.
paused these
Let me
programs.
change topic.
You're a Trump
I
supporter.
want to change topic
You're a
to.
Republican congressman.
I want
in
to change
Trump's
topic to Ukraine.
I'm aware.
Let's just play a clip here and then discuss this afterwards about Ukraine.
Ceasefire, Ukraine, ceasefire. Just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and the soap. That's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed.
So, Mehdi, here's another example I would say of where the Trump hysteria doesn't really help anything. Because after the Oval Office bust up, which for about 45 minutes was perfectly reasonable discussion in front of the media, then it all kicked off. And that was unfortunate. It should have happened behind the scenes. But in the general scheme of trying to bring a war to an end, I didn't get as upset about it as everybody seemed to. And I said and predicted then, I think you'll find that Zelensky's back at the White House pretty quickly. And that this is all part of Trump's plan to try and force a peace deal, which it clearly seems to be. The onus is now on Russia. But do you accept that what we...
Yeah, Zelensky walked into the wrong administration. He thought he was going to deal with Biden. He got Trump. Trump said, yeah, you're going to have to work with that boy Putin. And Zelensky was like, hell no. And we had to look at that man like, look, the only way we're going to get this war to stop, or we're going to stop Putin from taking more land, is if you agree to this ceasefire and you got to low-key work with Putin. I'm sorry, but it's the way it is. I know you're anti-Russia, but you're going to have to work with Russia now because of the position that you allowed NATO and EU to talk you into. So, if you want to, Zelensky, if you want to blame anybody, blame them. But do not blame us for removing our support.
Saw in the Oval Office and all the reaction that came out of it, this is terrible, it's this, and this. But actually, in the cold light of what we've now seen unfurl since then, was premature.
No, I don't agree. And it's interesting you use the word unfortunate, Piers. I've told you this before in the past when you say you're not a conservative, you're not on the right. You use language that always minimizes what the right does. If Joe Biden had done it, if Kamala Harris had done it, you'd have been up in arms. It was a joke. It was a joke. The entire world watched that in shock. No president has ever behaved towards an allied leader in public like that, maybe in private. We know what our European allies thought of it. They thought it was a disaster. They didn't think it was just unfortunate. And look, if your argument is bring him to the table, there are other ways to bring him to the table. I'm someone who supported a ceasefire in Ukraine for a while. In fact,
a year ago, 2 years ago, if we had this conversation, I would have probably been the most dovish anti-war voice out of the three of us. Both of you would have been much more pro-Ukraine and hawkish against Russia than me. My problem is, while I want a ceasefire and a negotiated settlement, and I've said that since the beginning, even when I was doing my MSNBC show, I wanted it done by neutral mediators who have the best interests in peace. Donald Trump doesn't care about peace. He wants to win a Nobel Peace Prize. It bothers him that Barack Obama got one. He loved the fake ceasefire in Israel. He doesn't mind if he gets a fake ceasefire in Ukraine. My problem is the negotiator shouldn't be an American president who is so blatantly and viciously in the Russian camp. Piers, you cannot deny that he is not a neutral mediator. He only berates one side, not the other. He pushes Russian lies, right? If I had said the stuff he said a year ago, you and Dan Crenshaw would be attacking me as a Putin stooge. He said Zelensky's a dictator. Lied about that. Then he lied and said he didn't say Zelensky was a dictator. He said Zelensky had a 4% approval rating. That was another lie. He lied and said Ukraine started the war, an outrageous lie. Russia started the war with an illegal invasion.
Whoa, nope, wrong. Nope, Ukraine did start the war. And come on now. Look, Ukraine started the war as soon as they said, look, we're going into NATO, fuck Russia. Russia been explained to, NATO, the EU, and the United States that, yo, I do not want y'all on my border. I want y'all in the military force pretty much moving closer to my border. And we kind of ignored it. Ukraine was the last straw. We say Ukraine. And this, we're talking about NATO. Say Ukraine, come over here. At the risk of you pissing off Putin. And I guess Ukraine just went along, slapped Putin in the face and tried to run behind us in NATO. And that didn't work too much for him. We kind of just sent the guy out with a shitload of money and hoped that he was going to win.
He lied about how much money America has given Ukraine compared to Europe. He's lied and lied and lied. And that is my problem. And my biggest problem.
And no, they cannot go to NATO if they want because Russia said they cannot. I mean, bro, if Mexico try to go to a military alliance, we're not going to let them. Bro, Canada tries to go to some type of military alliance that's not NATO or with us. We're not going to let them. So when Russia does this to Ukraine, yeah, it's a problem. I mean, if Russia, look, they're a superpower. If Ukraine cannot beat Russia, then I'm sorry, but Ukraine cannot join NATO. Sorry, that's just the way it works. And who gonna stop them? Because we're not gonna put boots on the ground over it. We don't want to throw no more money into it. So now that the American support is kind of just like, look, is either y'all gonna come to a peaceful resolution where Russia does kind of come out as the winner, or we're just gonna leave y'all to yourselves and we're gonna see how that shit works.
And Piers, surely you agree with me, is can Russia be trusted to maintain the ceasefire? I'm glad the ball's in Russia's court, but don't forget what caused that blow up in the White House. Zelensky, not rudely, but firmly asked J.D. Vance, how do you know Russia's going to keep the ceasefire? 25 times Russia has violated previous ceasefires. Vance couldn't answer the question, so instead he personally berated and insulted and verbally abused the president of Ukraine. That's what it comes down to now. Can Russia be guaranteed to hold a ceasefire? And can Trump ever hold Russia accountable? The one leader in the world he'll never, ever criticize.
All right, Dan, a lot to unpack there, but
I mean, well, come on now. There's a lot of world leaders that we don't criticize. I mean, did China? Like, come on now. Putin, come on. Like, you just can't sit there and act like Putin just a special guy here. Honestly, if anything, China's a bigger threat to us than Putin is. If anything, Putin's Europe's problem, not ours. Our problem is China. But hey, I guess since y'all want us to worry about Russia so much, I would like to say this. Europe, why aren't y'all doing anything about it? Y'all are the ones who's saying, oh, he's going to take all of Europe. Okay, great. Stop him. Stop him. Yes, go ahead. Put your money into it. Put boots on the ground and go all in because we're not. We are not. Americans, no, we already said we're not going into war for that. We're not going to put boots on the ground for Ukraine. And y'all got to get used to that and figure out what y'all about to do with it. Because Zelensky already know what he's trying to do. He's already trying to capitulate. He going to bend the knee. He going to kiss the Russian Don's hand. I know y'all hate to hear it, but this is what's going to happen.
I think what I thought about this is that Trump's minerals plan seemed to be quite a smart part of this equation to peace because it would calm down all those on the MAGA side who are outraged about the spending that's been going on in supporting Ukraine, who do not see the point of America doing this, who want America first and leave these foreign wars alone and so on. If you can have a deal based around accessing minerals that America can then use, and you can make it look like a transactional business relationship that costs Americans nothing, that's a better sell for Trump just politically with his base. I got it. I also think that Trump had a point. I'm interested in what you think as a military man, though, that whilst I accept what Mehdi says, that it is all about security guarantees, and that Zelensky's biggest fear might be actually what happens when Trump's no longer in office, that Putin might not try anything on his watch, but he might wait and bide his time and do it then, which he did, of course, with Biden when he invaded Ukraine. I'm just curious what you think about the idea that Trump had, which is if you've got American contractors all over Ukraine digging up minerals and they're there in big numbers and there's a business relationship there, is that enough of a deterrence to Putin to then attack more of Ukraine, because he would effectively be attacking areas that have a lot of American people on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, look, the minerals deal in particular is a good idea for two reasons. One, it's a political backstop for President Trump, as you mentioned. Second, there's now an economic entanglement between the U.S. and Ukraine, which is an implicit security guarantee. The Ukrainians agreed with this, by the way. It was frustrating, and you look at what Rubio really put it well when he explained on maybe CBS or whatever interview it was.
I wish some of these Ukrainian supporters also show more heart and go out there and fight it. If y'all truly think Ukraine could win, enlist in the Ukrainian army and go out there and fight the great fight. And then here's the thing, like, look, bro, we know that Russia is our adversary. We know that Putin don't like us like that. We understand that. But when it comes to this conflict, it's like, bro, they're not beating Russia. It's like, if it was us against Russia, sure. Like China against Russia, okay, maybe. But anybody else against Russia is getting their ass beat. I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the world right now. It would literally take Europe to dogpile on Russia for them to stand a chance. So it is a kind of funny how I'm gonna be real with you. Europe don't even really, Russia don't even have the numbers to take on Europe. They just got the military might. So it is pretty funny how y'all over here are trying to downplay Russia as if they're not a nuclear power or a military superpower, and as well as a kind of like I wouldn't say an economic one, but hey, they can pull some strings.
Why the frustration with Zelensky? He had agreed. We were in Munich. We were in Munich with at this Munich Security Conference.
Here's the thing: why would I go fight for Russia if they're winning? Like, bro, think about it. Like, if I'm Russia, if I'm pro-Russian, my side's winning. Then why would I go fight? Y'all losing. If y'all feel so much for Ukraine, like I said, go out there and fight. They're losing. Your side is losing. That means you don't really give a fuck. You just want to be a bitch ass nigga sitting there behind the TV screen or on your keyboard. That's really what it is. You don't really feel for them, or else you'd go out there and listen to Ukrainian army and you'll go out there and fight that boy Putin to the death. And I'd clap for you, man. I'd be like, you know what? He stood on principle, but no, you're not.
I met with Zelensky at that time. He seemed to have no problems with the mineral agreement. Seemed to think it was a good idea. Rubio had convinced him earlier, maybe that day or the day before, and then he would go out talking about how he's not agreeing with it. So there was a frustration within the administration. The White House blow up. I mean, I watched it myself as well, and my take from it was, this is not the time to be litigating past histories about Putin, whether you're right or not. This isn't the moment for it. It's time to have lunch, sign a deal, and get on our way to a peace deal. And so Mehdi's complaints seem to be purely stylistic. Yeah. So you don't like Trump's style and how he got people to the table, but how else would you do it? I mean, if you agree with the premise of a ceasefire, like you do have to engage in uncomfortable flattery with the Russians. That is something Trump knows. It is something. It is how you wrangle them. And look, Zelensky has been pandered to by Europeans, by us for a while now. Now, look, I think everything happened as it should happen along the timelines. I think we needed to probably do a lot more than Biden did, quicker and faster aid to defend Ukraine in the beginning. 3 years later, Trump is right. It is time to actually start talking. And regardless of whether those talks have worked in the past, again, that was J.D. Vance's point in the White House. Why are we litigating that? Let's talk about present and future. And that's a very American way of thinking, but it works. And it's not a very Eastern European way of thinking, right? They think in terms of the 1,000 years of history preceding them. This is the problem in the Middle East as well. Like, this is just, there's a cultural mismatch there. And I think that's what you actually saw unfold in the White House.
Also, on your point,
what we have is we seem to agree on the outcome here. We seem to all like the outcome.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing I would say on your point about how to deal with Putin.
We don't know what the outcome is. We don't know what the outcome is.
No, okay, but we all agree that
as of today, we seem to like it, right? I mean,
we like the idea
laws
that
of
Ukraine
Putin's
has
court.
signed up to a ceasefire, which is a way further forward than they were in the Oval Office when they didn't want to even speak
But hold
to
on,
Putin.
the bloc. Hold on, come on, guys. This is crazy that I'm having to be the kind of pro-Ukraine against the seemingly pro-Russia voices. The bloc on a ceasefire. Are you saying that was Ukraine for the last 3 years that's been the only bloc on a ceasefire? Come on.
No, I said
In fact,
Ukraine
Boris
agreed
Johnson
to a
went
ceasefire.
Ukraine and
What are you
insisted
talking
not to do it.
Why are you
here.
twisting
There
our
are times-
words?
The idea that
no, nobody said
because
that.
you're saying that we're in a ceasefire position. Can I finish a sentence? You're saying that Zelensky went to the table because Trump bullied him.
My bad. Actually, correction. When Afghanistan war started, actually, I was 7. I'm sorry. Somebody just said, "Oh, did you fight in the Afghanistanian war?" I'm like, bro, I'm only like 29. It's like, bro, what? It's like, bro, when that shit started, I was like 7. What?
Him in public. And by the way, I'm loving this from you two, that this language we're using today to coddle Trump. He's not even here, and you're both so worried about his feelings.
It was
Trump,
over by then.
Pierce
You know
talking
that.
about unfortunate. Dan said stylistic. Come on. I have a memory of longer than a goldfish. Barack Obama talked about a reset with Russia. Your party, Dan,
Nah,
went
bro, you know
nuts.
you sound
Right, can I
stupid.
just
People called him a stooge of
Mehdi,
Russia.
Mehdi, if I may.
Hold on. No, I just finished my sentence.
Right, I need to be able to actually put a
You don't want
question
to call
to
it 2
you.
against 1. I haven't spoken about Russia for the last 5 minutes. You both have been speaking. Can I finish one point? Let me just make one point. It's not stylistic. It is Trump being objectively pro-Russia, pushing Russian talking points. And if a Democrat did it, Dan Crenshaw and you, Piers Morgan, would be all over them and not say
Bro, do you know how dumb you sound? Now, bro, if I was to go there in 2021, it would be over. I'd have just been sitting there chilling basically until the withdrawal. Like, do you understand that? Like, the hot point of the Afghanistanian war was in the beginning. So if you wasn't in there from the beginning, bro, it like you didn't really see anything. The soldiers will tell you that. So you're pretty much talking, I should have fought in a war that I had no idea how it started at 7. At 7, bro. Do you hear your logic? The whole time where I'm living my life, I should have got into a war that I don't even know these people. I don't even know these people. I don't even know their play or nothing. At 7, I should just hopped into that where you sound stupid. That's why. Because it don't matter when it ended. What do you mean? Like, oh, it ended like last year. Bro, we withdrew last year. The real fight stopped like damn near 10 years ago.
Literally did it because Bill Clinton, I put a clip out that went viral last week of me interviewing Bill Clinton in 2012, and it went viral for a reason because he was talking about how he dealt with Vladimir Putin when they were both world leaders. And he said, what you have to do with Putin, you don't criticize him in public. He said, but behind the scenes, you have very tough conversations. And interestingly, he said,
so then why did Obama get so much?
Let me finish.
Why did Obama
Stop
get so much shit
interrupting,
for the
Mehdi.
reset?
You said you hate interruptions. You're a bloody
interrupted
master
me.
at it. Stop interrupting.
You interrupted
Practice
me
what
earlier.
you preach.
You interrupted me earlier.
Practice what you preach.
Well, it's 2 against 1.
Can I
but that's
finish,
fine.
please, Mehdi?
I'll wait.
Thank you. And he
Please,
simply
your turn.
said, that behind the scenes, they had very tough conversations. And I said to him, could you trust Putin if he gave you his word on something? He went, absolutely. He never went back on his word, which I thought was interesting. And I've heard that from other leaders, that what Putin says in public and what happens in public is one thing. What happens behind the scenes with him is another. We don't know what conversations Trump has had with Putin behind the scenes, but we do know he's following the same playbook in public.
Because he tore them up.
He's following the same playbook in public.
No, bro. You can't say that. You cannot say that because you are over here pretty much saying that we should back Ukraine. You're over here getting mad at me saying that, oh, we shouldn't back Ukraine no more. You're crying about it pretty much. And you're pretty much saying, no, don't go tell other people don't fight if you didn't fight. Bro, you guys want Ukraine to win, do you not? Then go fight. Like, dog, when the Afghanistanian war started, bro, I didn't know what the hell was going on. You do. Bro, this war started in a time where you were able enough to know what's going on. You picked your side, that was Ukraine. You feel so strongly, they're losing. Go fight for them. Now, if the Afghanistanian war started in my time when I was like in my early 18, 20 years old, and I felt that strongly, yeah, I'd have went. I'd have been like, yo, fuck these niggas. Fuck these niggas, ISIS. It's on. But I was 7. Like, do you hear your logic, my friend? You can't say that. Like I said, if your emotions are that strong, which they're not, and that's why you're over here crying, because you know they're not, and you know you're a coward. Because if you are really about it, because you know the conflict, right? You do. You think that Putin invaded these people? You think they deserve to be this nation, this free nation? Well, cool. Go out there and fight for it then. And if you don't truly believe in it, then stand down.
If you may not interrupt me, please. We do know he's following the same playbook as Bill Clinton advocated in that clip. And he was a Democrat president last time I checked. So there is a strategy they have for dealing with Putin, which may be more effective.
And shout out my man DD Gaming, man. Appreciate the support, my man. He said Ukraine and Russia both made mistakes at each other. Ukraine refused to get rid of their own extremists. Russia pushed too hard, dragged us in this BS. Honestly, I honestly think that. Now, I would say this. Russia honestly had a line. They had a line. That's why it's kind of hard for me to blame them in the situation. The line was, all right, y'all done low-key did enough. Like, bro, they didn't let us get Poland and all that good stuff. It's like, come on now. And they didn't do nothing. They said Ukraine's the last straw. That was their line, was Ukraine, and NATO crossed it. And they acted on it. Now, as much as we hate the fact that Russia did it, bro, they kind of gave us a warning. I mean, this is I can't really judge them too much on that. I'm a man of my word, and I believe that you should also keep your word. And if you don't keep your word, whatever comes is your fault. And let's be real, NATO got Ukraine to kind of go against their word. Well, NATO's word.
Effective than simply doing what you'd like everyone to.
Appreciate the support, DD Gaming, man. Shout out. Let's go.
Do, which is call Putin a monster. I'm happy to. I think he is a despicable tyrant. He's a dictator. He
pretty
illegally
sure
invaded
you've called him a monster more than I have,
Hang on.
Piers, for the last
Stop
4
interrupting, please. I think he's an awful dictator.
Well, you're giving a speech now, Piers. I thought we were doing a debate
you should
here.
be the.
You're now giving
you
a
should
speech,
know all
so
about
I'm gonna
that, Mehdi.
interrupt you.
Let me finish, and I'll come to you. He's a ruthless dictator, to be clear, who illegally invaded a sovereign democratic country. But do I think that Donald Trump has more chance of forging peace here when that war is clearly at a point where it's just going to kill more and more people for very little territorial change? Yes, I do. Far more than Joe Biden ever even looked like doing. Over to you, Mehdi.
Good point.
No, I don't have much to add other than to repeat my point, which is I'm not for war. I'm the most dovish person on the three of us on this panel. My point is a very simple political point, which maybe neither of you want to hear, which is that when Democrats are in office, if they ever try and make peace or do deals with dictators, they get attacked by Dan's party and Fox for being soft on defense. We all know this is undeniable. In Washington, D.C., they're called soft. They're called sellouts. Obama was demonized for many reasons, including his Russia reset comments. All I'm saying is the Republicans come into office with Trump, not with any other, not with Romney, but with Trump. And when Trump does it, they all flip and say, let's have peace with North Korea. Are you kidding me? If Joe Biden had said, I'm exchanging love letters with Kim Jong-un, the Republicans would have crucified him. Everyone here knows.
All right.
Let me explain to you the difference between rhetoric and actions. So under Obama in 2014, what did Russia do?
Very patronizing.
Refresh my memory, since you have the memory longer than a goldfish. Oh yeah, they invaded Ukraine. And did Putin or did Obama give any weapons to Ukraine for self-defense? No. Trump did. Javelins.
And did your party
stingers.
attack him for that? Hold on, but didn't your party attack him for that?
Don't
you just made my point for me, Dan.
No.
Thanks.
No.
Thanks, Dan.
Speak.
Thanks, Dan. You just made my point for me.
Let Dan speak, please.
No,
Mehdi, stop
what are you
interrupting.
Yeah, Republicans attacked Obama.
Wait, are you saying my party attacked Trump for
Republicans attacked Obama? No, I said
for letting
Republicans
Russia
attacked
invade
Obama.
Ukraine?
Bro, for letting Russia invade, letting Russia invade Ukraine as if we could have stopped these niggas. What? Like, look, I get it. Most powerful army in the world, but Russia is not too far behind. Like, we just couldn't sit there and stop them without risking a nuclear war. This is the problem. When big dogs move, who have a lot of nukes, you got to deal with them different. It's like, if we was to be that aggressive, everybody would treat us the same way they're treating Russia. It's like, well, you can't just fight America. You just can't get into war with America and expect things to turn out well. It's the same thing with Russia. You just can't get into a war with Russia and expect shit to turn out right. I mean, shoot. And hopefully, if I pray to God that Taiwan and that China don't do nothing to Taiwan. Because if you guys think that Taiwan's gonna be China, man, y'all niggas really lost. Y'all lost. Y'all people gonna be lost.
For not arming.
Yes,
you're making my point for me. So they attacked him for being soft on Russia. That's my point. So when Obama's soft on Russia, it's bad. When Trump is soft on Russia, it's good. Do you see the hypocrisy here?
No, there's no hypocrisy because we
You've
look at
interrupted me
actions.
multiple times.
So
That's the famous interruption.
Trump actually has taken actions against Russia to include arming the Ukrainians. So, and if he hadn't done that, by the way, Ukraine would be Russia right now.
He just cut off. He just cut off arm. He just cut off aid.
For
Sorry,
3
Dan.
days,
Come on,
for like
don't
3
stop
days,
gaslighting. He
and
literally and people died. And how many children died? And how many people?
I mean, yeah, an airstrike happened. You're right, and they capitulated. I mean, it's sad that it had to come to that. What you mean? It wouldn't have to come to that if he'd just took the damn ceasefire. So Zelensky's fault for not taking the ceasefire in the first place, and now we had to cut aid for 72 hours. And then within them 72 hours, you know what that boy Putin did? Hit him with an airstrike. Yeah, I know. Fucked up. I wish it didn't happen, but this is what happened when you play with people's lives over a fucking vendetta.
Died. How many people died in those 3 days? You want to tell the viewers? Do you want to tell the viewers how many?
Bro, it's like you can't, bro. How many people died in those 3 days? I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro. It don't freaking matter. It's Zelensky's fault. You can't blame that on Trump. You can only blame the fact that it wouldn't have happened if bro would have just agreed to the ceasefire. You know that? The man walked out on a ceasefire deal, and then 3 days later, his people, and then what? Next day, his people are back to getting slaughtered. We told you what this man Putin's on, and y'all don't want to believe us. Like, bro, this man literally sitting back there just seeing how much y'all gonna put into this. Seeing how much the American people are gonna put into it. And once we stop putting in, what did he do? He turned it up. He started hitting them maybe with real airstrikes. You see, he was waiting on us to pretty much take a step back. And as soon as we did, airstrike.
How many people died? Well, they're not rocket attacks.
Warfare. You know nothing about the on the ground on Ukraine. That had no effect on the ground in Ukraine. It had zero effect. But 4 days of supposedly cutting off aid had zero effect.
I don't need to know about warfare to know that you just misinformed the viewers. He literally cut off arms and intel.
I'm not done with my list of actions that Trump
took. And he cut off arms and intel.
So Putin invaded Ukraine twice, both under Obama and Biden. Under Trump, Ukraine was given defense weapons that actually saved Ukraine from being totally taken over, because it was those weapons that were used to destroy Russian tanks just outside Kiev. I saw them with my own eyes.
It's true.
Been there?
What he's saying is true.
Do you know about the actual on-the-ground truth in Ukraine?
Oh, it's not two against one at all, is it?
How many hundreds of Russian soldiers did Trump vaporize in Syria? To say that Trump is some Putin puppet and soft on Putin is absolutely ridiculous.
I ain't gonna lie, like, bro, Putin and Trump kind of fought each other around the world in every chance they get. So to say that Trump is low-key a Russian supporter, Russian sympathizer, or he works with Putin, it's honestly asinine. It's like, bro, really, these two are just like almost mortal enemies that can be in the same room, though. That's kind of what they are. It's like, yeah, I take out some of your troops here. You cause hard times for me in Africa. I cause hard times for you in the Middle East. Yeah, I mean, it's an even exchange of BS that we give each other. U.S. and Russia is a very toxic relationship we got.
He knows how to negotiate,
giving each other bullshit around the world.
He ran on getting a deal. He was very clear about wanting a deal, which you seem to agree.
And shout out my man Vince Crown, man, appreciate it. He's like, on X, there's a video called "History Teacher Gives Lesson About Russia and Ukraine." I mean, Jeffrey Sachs, he looks like a history teacher, but he gave a pretty extensive explanation of what was going on in Ukraine as well. So shoot, but we played that. I think that I put the clip up. So if you guys want to listen to that, go ahead and go over to our video clip and you'll be able to find it. You can go ahead and watch that entire reaction.
I don't understand how you can talk out of both sides of your mouth. This is what I mean by your complaints about it seem to be completely stylistic.
Oh, shoot. And appreciate the support, my man Vincent Crown, man. Appreciate you. Let's keep it going.
Like, how are you going to get Putin to the table by beating your chest? I mean, that is Trump's argument, and it's a sensible one. And he also has to get his allies in order. So we've got the French, we've got the English who are willing to put peacekeeping troops on the ground. We are going in the right direction here. But the Europeans are understanding. The French are great on
We're literally losing allies on the rest, but okay.
You're not losing allies. America's not losing any allies.
We're not losing any allies.
You're in denial, Piers. You're in denial.
Well, the British Prime Minister has made it clear in the last few days that the US relationship's never been stronger.
And by the way,
all that's happening, all that's happening is that European countries are finally, it was my show, European
I think every viewer can see the
countries,
two of you.
Mehdi, sometimes you forget you're on my show when you do this. If I'm on yours, you can dictate it any way you like.
I love it. Yeah. Well, when you're on mine, Piers, I don't do two against one. I do on my own. I interview on my own.
No, you do. all that's happened in the last week or so is that Europe has finally stepped up and accepted more responsibility for defending itself properly and less reliance on America to constantly bail us out.
Can I speak at
as a
any point?
European, I'm completely in favor of that. And that's almost entirely down to Donald Trump, who was right onto the NATO scam in his first term, where European countries were not paying even their basic dues into NATO. Why should America step up as everyone's policeman, backing them with money, with military and everything else, if the Europeans won't even pay their basic membership fees? He was.
And then here's the thing, though, it's the Europeans who are saying, oh, Russia's going to take all of Europe like Hitler, man. It's Hitler's second coming. Y'all ain't doing shit about it, though. And that's what's killing me. It's like, bro, we're not going to back up something that y'all ain't even taking this that seriously. We're taking the situation more seriously than Europe. And y'all are the motherfuckers that's saying y'all probably be taking over. You guys, not us.
Right then, and he's right now about Europe stepping up.
It's a bit irritating. I'm not going to lie.
I'm allowed to speak yet?
You may speak.
Can I respond? Thank you very much. It's funny because I said to your producer before, here's going to be neutral. He said, yes, very neutral.
I am neutral.
Two people shouting at me every time I speak.
I am neutral.
Yeah, okay, if you say so. I think the viewers can see that two people are shouting at me every time I speak. So, yeah, I think it's clear that two people are shouting at me every time I try to speak.
You made a big statement about interrupting, so we're just calling you out when you interrupt everybody. Mehdi,
let me know when I can speak, boys. I'll try. Let's see.
You're being a baby. You're being a baby.
On the front. There you go. There you go. There's another interruption. Another interruption from Dan. Hey, Dad, I'm not a baby. I'm happy to be here on my own. You need to be handheld by peers. That's fine. Look, my point here about Russia is very simple.
Dan
my point about Russia.
Are you even aware of his military career?
So far, three interruptions.
I ain't gonna lie. Now look, if we want to be fair, which y'all are gonna see, this is what I'm about to say is unfair, but every country, single country, should be able to match the US. So if we put in 100 billion, you put in 100 billion. Isn't that fair? Fair is fair, right? We're all in this together. We should, right? Oh no, y'all don't really believe in this whole Ukrainian war, or else we'd all be in this together, all of us. Nah, not just you combining, not Europe combining a pot together and being like, oh, America, that this is us all together. Why we give more than you? Oh, well, how much y'all give individually? Yeah, y'all want to talk then? Do not want to talk then.
Three interruptions. Let's keep going. Let's see. Everyone's watching. Everyone is watching to see that I cannot make one point about Russia.
Why don't you just speak?
Let me start a fourth time. Let me start a fourth time and see if you both could actually let me speak.
You haven't started anything.
If you both shut up, maybe
all you do is insult us. Say something.
Anything.
Hey, I love the Morgan Crenshaw dream team. No, it's not 2 against 1 at all. All right, so let me start for a fourth time.
Very silly.
Russia thinks Trump is. Oh wow. Okay, fifth time. Russia has openly said that Trump is aligned with our vision, right? Russians are the ones saying they love Trump. The Russian media loves Trump. The Mueller report made it very clear that Putin always wanted Trump to win and in both elections. So let's not get lost in Trump. Trump called Putin a genius for invading Ukraine in 2022. And yes, the invasion happened on Biden's watch, but Zelensky himself will tell you, you've both met Zelensky, I haven't. He'll tell you that thanks to Joe Biden, Russia wasn't able to completely destroy and wipe out Ukraine in a matter of months or weeks, as some people thought he would, including American generals wrongly. So it's absurd to say Joe Biden didn't support Ukraine for the last few years. Of course he did. And yes, we all want peace, but I don't trust Trump. If I'm wrong, I'll come back on the show and I'll say to you all, you guys were right. Trump got peace in Russia and Ukraine, and it sustained, and it was a durable, real peace.
And I will
come back in a year or 2 years.
And I will say now, Trump will deliver peace in Ukraine. So we'll see. We'll have the same three.
Okay, good. Okay, and let me finish the point that I've been waiting. Can I just finish the one point I waited 5 minutes for?
Yes. Why don't you make it?
Well, I do have a disagreement because actually I do think Western allies are reassessing their view of the US. And I think it's absurd to say Europe did. I'm so fed up with this propaganda, Piers, that you as a European are pushing about. Europeans spent, if you include support for refugees, Europeans spent $300 billion on Ukraine. Even if you just do military and humanitarian aid, as Dan himself has accepted, it's equal, right? If you throw in refugee support, they spent billions. This is absurd.
And what's the territorial size of Europe against America? The biggest population?
Ukraine.
Sorry. What's the population of Europe compared to America?
What? Please, how much is that? I believe it's like 700 million to what? Oh, 300 million. So hold on, y'all got more people. Why can't y'all donate more? Y'all got more people. Y'all be able to collect more taxes. Where's the donation? Yeah, hide y'all wallet. Yeah, hiding y'all wallet, man. What the hell? I thought y'all really wanted to fix the problem, but y'all over here sitting on y'all wallet. Okay. Okay. 700 million. Remember that.
You don't know. Why don't you go away and work out
tell me,
that
Piers, I don't
Europe
know.
is many, many times
That's
the
funny.
size of the United States, both geographically and in
All right, but that's-
population.
so then-
And yet
I got it right here for you. As of 2023, Europe is 742.3 million people. Yes, 742.3 million people. Y'all tell me I couldn't give more than 300 million people? You couldn't give more than 300 million people. Really? I mean, like I say, hiding y'all wallets, man. Okay. We see how it is.
you think they should be parity.
So what are you saying then? Tear up the
They
transatlantic
should be
alliance?
parity, should they?
No, but hold on. The US wanted to bleed Russia in this war. This is what people on the left have been saying for a while. The US had national security interests, they claimed, Republican and Democrats told us, including Dan Crenshaw, in fighting Russia. So don't act like this is some humanitarian gesture or charitable act by the US to Ukraine. Come on, grow up. That's not what happened in Ukraine.
Okay, I'll
or
try and
Russia
grow
for
up.
the
Let's
last
move
10
on
years.
to the
And even
final.
if you go back to
I'm going to try and grow up. Let's move on to the final topic, which is Mahmoud Khalil, who's this prominent figure in Columbia
Oh, wow.
University's pro-Palestinian student protest movement, been arrested and detained on Saturday after an executive order by President Trump ordered that terrorist sympathizers should be deported. Now, Khalil is married to an American, but is in the US on a green card, and there is actual legal activity still ongoing. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "We know there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who've engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity, and the Trump administration will not tolerate it." Mehdi, your response?
Yeah, so to go back to the start of the show, and Dan talked about Trump derangement syndrome. Many people have accused me of Trump derangement syndrome because I've been warning about, as you know, on this show with you, Piers, you and I have argued about Trump fascism, Trump autocracy, authoritarianism, racism. I've been super worried about what Donald Trump might be. But even I was shocked by this. I thought they would go after student visas, students, the low-hanging fruit. I would have objected to that, but there would have been at least some argument there. To go after a lawful permanent resident in this way, no accusation of a crime, no charge of a crime, the way they did it was horrific. Then Trump comes out with weaponizing Judaism and in Hebrew with Shalom Mahmoud.
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't agree with that either. I'll be quite honest. The guy was just talking what he thought. Like I said, freedom of speech, freedom to express whatever you think. And yeah, he got locked up for it. I don't agree with it. I'll be quite honest with you. And I do not like it. And I'm be real with you. Would he have got locked up if he wasn't talking about Israel? That's the main problem. And it does kind of seem like there's an extra aggressive push on you when you have a stance against Israel. I mean, hey man, what can I say? I see patterns.
Again, accusing him of no crime, saying he's anti-Semitic and anti-American. Very McCarthyite phrase. What does anti-American mean? Donald Trump, many would argue, is very anti-American. So it's a very, very scary moment wherein those of us who believe in the rule of law, who support immigrant rights, there are more green card holders in the US than undocumented immigrants, 14 million, who are now, I know many of them who are living in fear now about what they, what's going to happen to them. Did they say something or do something that Trump doesn't like? I do find it ironic that the Republican Party, which obsessed for years over threats to free speech, over social media censorship, over COVID lockdowns, over the government coming for your guns, black helicopters in the skies, now seem to be totally fine with armed federal agents from the United States government turning up unannounced at the home of a US citizen who is 8 months pregnant to detain without charge her lawful permanent resident husband and then disappear him simply because the president of the United States doesn't agree with his political views or the content of his speech. If that is not fascism, I don't know what is.
Okay, Dan, your response.
I'll help you out. So let's read what Khalil's statements actually were. Quote, "We are Westerners fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. Our intifada is an internationalist one. We are fighting for nothing less than the liberation of all people." So this is an incitement to violence, very clearly so. If you're looking,
that's a statement from a group he was part of.
Yeah. So okay. So here's the law.
All right. No. Here's the thing, though. I've heard the man talking. I ain't heard that. But if this is a group he's a part of, I'm gonna make my friend. You are the same guys who called all January 6ers criminals, are all trash, and all that good stuff. So now that the Republicans are pulling this on y'all, it don't feel good, do it? Like, trust me, I feel for the guy, but I mean, I can't talk after what y'all did with January 6ers.
You're right. Sorry. That is correct. Now, here's the law that we're referencing. You said he broke no laws, but it's Section 8 U.S. Code 1227. Being a representative of a political or social group that endorses or espouses terrorist activity is against the law and a violation of the social contract of having that visa. That's the argument. There isn't some. This isn't some McCarthyism. This isn't some vague issue. How is it false? I just read to you the actual U.S. code.
Not true. I'll tell you. No,
not true according
to
who?
I can tell you how it's false because according to the White House, Stan. According to the White House went to the Free Press yesterday. You should check.
According to the White House, what he was saying and pretty much, I guess, broke laws. So I mean, damn, I guess you can kind of relate it to the January 6ers. You're saying he broke laws, and the liberals have their arguments saying that he didn't, just like you say the January 6ers broke laws, and the Republicans have their arguments that they didn't. I know, ain't that about a bitch, man? Like, hey, man, karma's real, and it cooks slow, don't it?
Your facts before you come on and defend the White House. The White House went to the Free Press and said, we're not accusing him of breaking any laws. So Congressman Dan Crenshaw was coming on TV making wild accusations of law breaking based on a quote that's not.
I've heard the same thing. And you know what? Let's get into this with Candace. I believe Candace actually explained this, went into a deeper dive on it. Let's get into it because I'm actually pretty interested in the topic. Because what did he say? You feel me?
Space right now. This is one of those fun episodes where no matter who you are, there's something for you to be offended about. So let's jump right back in. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, so one of the many things that I miss about the 90s, if you watch this show, I always say the 90s was the golden decade. Everybody was happy and saving up for Disney. And there were a lot of comedians who were very offensive, right? They would get everybody into a room, people like Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, and they would make fun of every race and every person. And by the end of the stand-up routine, everyone was a little bit offended and also was better for it, knowing that, okay, like you're not that special. You don't deserve special considerations. And I'm kind of bringing that back. I feel that today, both sides just need to be roasted for being a little bit ridiculous. Starting with conservatives, obviously, because this has been trending everywhere. People that are looking for reasons to support Mahmoud Khalil's detainment. Okay, so we discussed this yesterday. If you need to get all of the facts, depending on leading up to this moment, please go back and watch yesterday's episode. But essentially, he is a Palestinian green card holder, also a former graduate student of Columbia University, who was detained 3 days ago. That's important because he has
Palestinian green card holder. That means he has some very strong feelings about this whole, Israel, Hamas situation. Let's be real. He has some very strong feelings, probably leaning towards the more pro-Palestinian side.
Still not yet,
illegal occupation and all that good stuff.
Been charged, despite all of the rhetoric online, people digging up social media posts like we're in the UK, social media posts that are not attributable to him. We don't know who's running these accounts. Some of them have been doctored. Some of them are fake. The Trump team and the Republicans are struggling to give a clear and concise answer as to why they were pursuing his deportation. Right. And that's very unusual. I want to be clear. Typically, one of the things that you love about watching these press briefings is that whether it's Kayleigh McEnany or Caroline Leavitt, when the press comes to them with questions, they're able to slap them down with facts. And this time it just seems like we're getting emotion. OK, any crime, any arrest, any reason that they had arrested him for breaking a crime would have sufficed. That's how I am. I'm tough on this stuff.
And shout out to Fire, and he's pretty much saying like, hey, man, this guy was the one who was setting up the riots in the college campuses. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I said, if this guy was causing those Jewish kids to get hurt or entrapped in rooms and all that good stuff, then yeah, take his ass to jail, deport his ass. You're right. Do that to him. If he was actually causing harm to other students, then yeah, get him through. You can't do that. But if he was just speaking his mind and it was an anti-Israeli, it was anti-Israel, that's freedom of speech. You can't really arrest them for that. Bruh. Like, come on now. What are y'all trying to say? That Israel's above critique, above judgment? Freedom of speech, except when it comes to Israel. What are y'all trying to say?
totally agree. Again, just to reiterate that if you are here, especially on a student visa, not even a legal resident, and you are caught breaking the law, you've opened yourself up for deportation. That's why we're like, yeah, the illegals, they broke the law. They're not here legally. You can go home. Okay. But instead, we're being told by Caroline Levitt that it had something to do with him being a part of a group on campus that distributed flyers that were pro-Hamas. So she's not actually explicitly accusing him of distributing any flyers. So the language here is interesting. And she can't show us the flyers because it's beneath the dignity of the office to show us pro-Hamas propaganda. But she's...
What the fuck? It's evidence. Like, bro, if you're using this as a way of saying, okay, he's promoting pro-Hamas, but we're not going to show you the flyers that prove that he's promoting pro-Hamas, I'm like, then shut up. I ain't trying to hear that. Like, if you don't give me the damn proof, then what are we doing? Like, what are we building a case on?
He's telling us that he helped to organize a group that distributed things that were terroristic. And before I tell you what is wrong with that argument, we should just listen to how she described this again.
Wrong with that argument.
Question here on Mahmoud Khalil. Does the administration believe that it needs to charge a green card holder with a crime to be eligible for deportation?
Well, in fact, Secretary Rubio reserves the right to revoke the visa of Mahmoud Khalil. And I'm glad you brought this up. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the Secretary of State has the right to revoke a green card or a visa for individuals who serve or are adversarial to the foreign policy and national security interests of the United States of America. Okay. And Mahmoud Khalil was an individual who was given the privilege of coming to this country to study at one of our nation's finest universities and colleges. And he took advantage of that opportunity, of that privilege, by siding with terrorists, Hamas terrorists who have killed innocent men, women, and children. This is an individual who organized group protests that not only disrupted college campus classes and harassed Jewish American students and made them feel unsafe on their own college campus, but also distributed pro-Hamas propaganda, flyers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That part is not illegal. Yeah, like I said, that's not illegal. Now, if this propaganda he's spreading and he's trying to convince these people to hurt kids, yes, that's illegal. If he's trying to convince these people to hurt Jewish students, that's illegal. He needs to go to jail if that's the case. But that doesn't really sound like that's what's the evidence is being like. It doesn't really sound like that's the evidence that they have. But I'm hoping it
with
is.
The logo of Hamas. That is what the behavior and activity that this individual engaged in. And I have those flyers on my desk. They were provided to me by the Department of Homeland Security. I thought about bringing them into this briefing room to share with all of you, but I didn't think it was worth the dignity of this room to bring that pro-Hamas propaganda. But
I'm sorry, but sweetheart, what about transparency? Like, what about being transparent to the people? It's like, I don't care. Like, you may have your feelings about it. You may be disgusted towards the propaganda and all that good stuff. I get it. Great. If you can't do it, bring somebody out who can, because I want to see it. Show me what this man was putting out there. Like, or send me the link. Drop the link, God damn it. Like, show me something. Just don't say that, oh, this is what it was. Because I don't believe that no more when it comes from y'all. I don't care who it is. It be Trump. It be the Trump administration, Biden administration. I just don't believe, like, oh, it said this, but I can't show y'all. I'm not going for that. So if y'all can't show me exactly what it said, I'm not hearing it.
That's what this individual distributed on the campus of Columbia University. And this administration is not going to tolerate individuals having the privilege of studying in our country and then siding with pro-terrorist organizations that have killed Americans. We have a zero tolerance policy for siding with terrorists, period.
Okay. So she, again, is not saying that Mahmoud himself distributed or that he even created the pro-Hamas material that we aren't allowed to see because it would be beneath the dignity of the office. But rather, he helped to organize a protest. And these groups, some people that were in these protests, then harassed Jewish students. They have not been arrested, or maybe they have been arrested. That's not clear. They distributed materials that she says are pro-Hamas propaganda. Someone within the group did that. Again, why aren't we arresting and using those individuals to set an example? So I would be very comfortable with that. But she also reminds us in the beginning that it is the Secretary of State that has the right to revoke a green card for any person that acts against the national security and foreign interests of the United States. So the argument is essentially, just to make this clear, terrorism is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Because it's going to change. The definition of terrorism and the definition of what are our national security interests, that's going to change from administration to administration. And that is what makes me so uncomfortable about this. And I want to explain that and also to offer something to you guys that is quite personal.
I mean, if you want to be real siding, if he was siding with Hamas, and let's just be real, and like I said, Hamas wants to kill all Jews, right? Right. So if this is what Hamas is out to do, then why aren't they doing that? And I'm happy that they're not doing that. Like, thank God that they're not. But if they're siding with Hamas, and we all know what Hamas wants to do, right? Right. Now, I mean, and besides getting back their lands, trust me, I'm pretty sure they do want to get back at the Israelis. So if there's also pro-Hamas, then instead of entrapping them, instead of trying to hit them, I mean, they outright kill these people. And I'm sorry that my language is being a bit direct right now, but that's the fact of the matter. If they're so pro-Hamas, then I'm be real with you. We'd have locked these people up a long time ago because they'd have probably been out here offing Jews left and right. You know, if they're also pro-Palestine, if that's the goal, right?
But it is why I am just so enraged about this, because no one understands how slippery that slope can get better than me, okay? First and foremost, I am not immune from this discussion. Let's not forget I married an immigrant, okay, who, like me, supports Donald Trump, who has supported Donald Trump through 3 elections. Now, we attended many Trump rallies, many Trump speeches. And there's one day that I will never forget. And that day is January 6th, 2020, because there is something that...
it's funny because I made the same comparison earlier. I was like, oh, this seems kind of familiar. This seems very familiar. And the left is kind of losing their head over it. And I get it. And I get it. I've been get it. It's kind of funny. It's like, bro, hey, Democrats, the way y'all feel about this is how we felt about January 6th. Hey, congratulations. Now you can relate.
That happened that sent a chill down my spine. Okay. On that day, I was 9 months pregnant, living in Washington, D.C. I was actually overdue. I ended up giving birth to my son 7 days later on January 13th, 2021. Pardon, let me correct that. And I lived just a couple of blocks away from the White House where Trump was due to speak.
I'll defend that statement. I get it. I get what you, bro. If we're talking about they're pro-Hamas, yes, that would be the goal of Hamas, to take out the Jews, right? If they're just siding with Hamas so much, wouldn't that be the goal, to attack them, to get rid of them? Like, that's enemy number one right now. That's what Hamas in Gaza's doing. They trying to get after them. I mean, why wouldn't though, if they're siding with terrorists, aka kind of working with them, you have the same beliefs as them, and the belief of Hamas right now is F them. So yeah, I'm gonna stand on that point that, bro, if they was actually siding with Hamas, they wouldn't be talking about it. They'd be doing something about it. Because Hamas, they wasn't talking about the Israelis. They actually attacked these people. They wasn't talking about, oh, the occupation's bad. No, they attacked these people about the occupation. I don't think they're pro-Hamas, and that's my argument, is that I don't believe they're so pro-Hamas or they align with Hamas because they're not willing to attack Jewish people. So I believe they agreed with the sentiments of Hamas, but I don't think that they align with Hamas. Like, they agree that, oh, the Palestinian people should have a 2-state solution, but they don't agree that the Jews should be hurt and killed, though. Like, they don't believe that they should be kicked out their country. It's like, it's 2 different things we're dealing with here, or 2 different mindsets we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who are protesting on the plight of Hamas or the plight of the Palestinian people, and we're talking about the actual Hamas who want their land and want to take out Israel.
This, save America, stop the steal, this whole thing that was gathering. All of our friends were going to hear him speak. And naturally, I would have been a part of this had I not have been overdue pregnant. So it really was just a God thing that I didn't attend this rally. And what ended up happening, obviously, was suddenly I started getting all these phone calls. Are you okay? Are you okay? What's going on? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just home. Like there's seems to be nothing going on. Next thing I know, I'm seeing images on CNN, MSNBC talking about how there's been this insurrection, showing images of people pushing past the police barricades. We're getting so much information, a lot of it which wasn't even true. We're being told that officers were killed, were bludgeoned to death, things that were clarified later that nobody even remembers were clarified as being wrong, because it's all about selling the emotion on that day. And what followed thereafter was genuinely.
No, Hassan is not pro-Hamas. Oh, look, Hassan is not Hamas. Hassan is he's not pro-Hamas. He's pro the plight of the Palestinian people of a two-state solution. That's what I'm saying. I gotta separate the plight of the Palestinian people from Hamas. Like there's the plight of the Palestinian people to be their own nation, have their own homeland, and then there's Hamas who is to F the Jews. We gonna fuck them up. Like that. Two different mindsets here. Okay.
Like the secret police, like I said to you guys yesterday. So we would have been in attendance. People who didn't even go into the Capitol building had FBI people on their door. People were being encouraged to snitch on their neighbors. And what happened to me in my personal life was I had signed a deal with S.E.T Publishing for my second book. And they called me up and they were telling me essentially that I was being put into a holding pattern because they weren't sure if they were going to revoke this book deal, this book offer, rather, for my second book, the one that is finally in my hands. I told you guys that this went through a lot. And they basically kind of wanted to have an interview with me to see what I thought about the quote unquote insurrection. Yep. And were pressuring me to distance myself from Donald Trump, who I supported very much. And the arguments that were being made at that time sound remarkably similar to what Carolyn Levitt is saying. Well, Donald Trump's team organized this rally. So anything that happened, people storming the Capitol building, people walking in the Capitol building, anything that happened that day is now attributable to Donald Trump. And this is an insurrection. It's a day that will die. You know, democracy is dying today. It was a huge deal. If you remember at this time, we were being called domestic terrorists, and even people who weren't there were losing in their lives, potentially losing a book contract because I supported Donald Trump. What was that about? Actually, it was about chilling speech. I wasn't even there. I was not there. Yep. And I was still for.
And I would say the thing about here, and the relation she's trying to put to here, like, yo, those people got locked up for supporting Donald Trump. This guy's getting locked up for supporting Palestine. I mean, yeah, it's kind of what it is. Now, like I said, if there is no rhetoric of this man pretty much saying death to the Jews, or no, we need to attack them, take them out, then I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't trying to hear it. And y'all kind of wrongfully arrest this young man.
Forced to go through this process, and by the end,
and I may not agree with him. I don't really agree with him all that much. Oh, well, no, I agree with that man probably on the history of it, but the way he's going about it with the protests and all that, I'm not going to agree with that. But I do agree with the plight of the Palestinian people if that's his stance. Now, if it's F the Jews, we need to kill them all, then no, I cannot align with that. Never will. I love all people.
Of it, a week later, they called me and said, after I gave birth, we're going to let you keep your book deal. You know, we talked about it and it's fine. And I actually went back to S.E.T and I said, I don't want to keep the book deal because there's something about this that bothers me. There's something about the fact that my book, which is not even about Donald Trump, it's about feminism, which that's the other thing. It was extraordinary because the book wasn't even about Donald Trump, had nothing to do with politics. And yet I was being threatened to lose a contract because they wanted me to just say something that was against Donald Trump. It was against the national interests of, you could say, the incoming administration to be a Trump supporter at that time. And I'm sitting here going, what if I hadn't been pregnant? What if me and my husband went down the street like we always did to attend a bunch of political events and that one went sideways and the media trumped it up and said it was this and domestic terrorists and terrorism was the number one word that was used? Would my husband...
Nah, they'd have got it. It'd have been one of them moments like... Got him! Like, they'd have got her. They'd have, like, Candace Owens would have literally been locked up.
And have had his status revoked. Would my family, new family, by the way, because I was ironically, like I said, 9 months pregnant with our first child, have been separated because of new definitions for what it meant to be a terrorist, which could even include not even being there that day, but someone that the public recognizes as being a supporter of Trump. That's what it means when I say that terrorism as a word that's being overused a lot by the left and the right is in the eye of the beholder. This is why I am passionately demanding that we are just given a real explanation as to why this individual, Mahmoud, is being detained. That's it. I just want to know why this family is potentially going to be separated because he had legal status here. He was not just here on a student visa. He had a green card. Okay. Very different implications here. He actually does have free speech rights. He can't vote, but he has free speech rights. And I'm watching conservatives who have apparently forgotten about all of that, forgotten about all of the harassment that we endured. I mean, I've been called a terrorist so many times in my political background. It's kind of amazing. Domestic terrorist for supporting Donald Trump after January 6th. I've been called a domestic terrorist for seeing my grandparent during the time of COVID, for not vaccinating my children because the national security interest was all about COVID. So they had to, what did they do? They squeezed speech on social media. Remember that? You couldn't even publish something. You couldn't say, I got the vaccine and my arm hurts before they would take it down. But they did that, remember, because of national security interests. This was for our health. Now conservatives who have spent years combating the persecution of speech under the guise of terror are turning to what looks like obscure social media posts and claims that green card holders shouldn't have the right to speech, or rather speech that is against quote unquote national security or national interests. It's like I said, seems to be a bit of a moving target. You know, a few years ago, like I said, that would have meant deporting people who spoke out against COVID policies. That's what you have to think about. That would have meant deporting people who spoke out against Dr. Fauci, okay? Talking about actual things that they lived through by having a bad reaction, maybe going outside during lockdowns. Some people are even suggesting that criticizing any U.S. leader when you're not a citizen is wrong, which brought up a very interesting point. It was a good back forth between Glenn Greenwald and Mike Cernovich, two people that I respect very much who have different positions on this. Mike Cernovich, by the way, I'm grateful that he's actually consistent. He's like, yes, I would say Jordan Peterson should have been deported. He's Canadian, because we shouldn't be hearing his political perspectives. He's not a citizen here. And Glenn Greenwald then pitched that question. I will show you journalist Glenn Greenwald. He asked this question. He said, actually, this is a good point. Jordan Peterson is not a citizen. Yet he frequently not only criticizes U.S. political leaders and U.S. policies on U.S. soil, but also participates in various forms of political activism. I'm not suggesting it's illegal, but should this be allowed? And he also asked this question. He said, if this is the principle, and that's what I kept hearing all day, that non-citizens in the U.S. should keep their mouths shut and not engage in political protests, then you would have been fine if the Biden administration deported Jordan Peterson for criticizing Biden White House policy. Are we okay with that? Okay. Do we agree with that? I think there might even be a third tweet from him asking that question. So if Jordan Peterson went to an American college to protest that school's promotion of gender ideology and multiple genders, do you think that he should be deported for engaging in protests at American university because he is a foreigner? Your answer might be yes to that. Okay. My only thing that I've been asking for is for someone to give me a concrete reason why this individual is being detained while his wife is 8 months pregnant. I think that's fair. And anybody that's reacting like that's crazy, like it's a crazy ask, that to me seems a little bit extreme.
Yeah.
And what better person to ask than the person who—
I'm telling you, no, please. That's all I'm saying. It was a bit unfair that she didn't show us what was written. What's so pro-Hamas about what this man was writing? Bro, if it was just a pamphlet explaining the history of the Palestinian people, I'm gonna be offended. I'm gonna be like, yo, so you telling me them explain their history is a pro-Hamas? Or could it just been a pro-Palestinian flyer that they're saying is pro-Hamas? When y'all don't show evidence, y'all leave room for speculation like this. Just saying.
Who did it? Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, surely the person who actually coordinated this detainment. Marco Rubio can clearly, or should be able to clearly explain what the crime is that he committed. So I'm going to show you what he had to say about it. Here is Marco Rubio on the detainment of Mahmoud Khalil.
When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country, as on a visitor's visa, okay, you are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls, that takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages. If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities, I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card.
Now I'm a bit scared because is it about being pro-Hamas or anti-Israel? Is it about being supporters of Hamas or being critical of Israel? That's the question right here that I would like to ask Rubio. Like, all right, what is this really about?
Not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out. It's as simple as that. This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with. No one has a right to a student visa. No one has a right to a green card, by the way. So when you apply for a student visa or any visa to enter the United States, we have a right to deny you for virtually any reason. But I think being a supporter of Hamas and coming into our universities and turning them upside down and being complicit in what are clearly crimes of vandalization, complicit in shutting down learning institutions. There are kids at these schools that can't go to class. You pay all this money to these high-priced schools that are supposed to be of great esteem, and you can't even go to class. You're afraid to go to class because these lunatics are running around with covers on their face, screaming terrifying things. If you told us that's what you intended to do when you came to America, we would have never let you in. And if you do it once you get in, we're going to revoke it and kick you out.
So the first 2 minutes of that is just pure hypothetical. He's like, oh, well, if you...
I mean, when you enrage an entire group of people by letting their, fellow countrymen get bombed, women and children get bombed, what do you think is going to happen? Like, yeah, we got Palestinians in this country. And I'm pretty sure if they knew that America was going to be complicit in, the bombing of Gaza, then I'm pretty sure they wouldn't even have came here. But hey, it is what it is, right? Here we are.
Applied, you say that I support Hamas and I support terrorism. We have a right to deny you. Okay, that's not the question that's being asked of you, Marco Rubio. We're not asking. Clearly, that could not have been what was on his application. He was accepted. Okay. The second piece of that is he is basically saying that his crime is that he is complicit. Complicit. The word complicit, I remember this so well because that was the mainstream media charge against Ivanka for 4 years. This is why Ivanka Trump was harassed for 4 years. She was complicit in rape, sexual assault, a war against women, you name it. What did she actually do? Well, she supported her father being the president of the United States, but that didn't stop people from making fun of her and calling her complicit every turn. She never returned any fire, but that was it. They hated Ivanka Trump for being complicit. So that is his excuse thus far. Thus far, he's not been able to name a single thing that he did other than be complicit, meaning maybe he organized these protests and they felt that made him complicit. So if somebody at the protest and there's 2,000 people decides to spray paint something on the wall, well, he's saying we're hanging him for that because, protesting is just not something that we should be doing in the United States. Which even though I think it is something that we are allowed to do, we are allowed to peaceably assemble. And if somebody that you're peaceably assembling with does something that's crazy, you're not complicit in that. You have to just not do that and speak out against it when it happens.
Yeah.
So now we are learning, by the way, and something that seems even more strange to me, that Mahmoud Khalil, who we are just being told is complicit, he's a terrorist sympathizer, absent any fact.
And before you Democrats try to make this about race, no, it's not about race. It's about my man's ideology. It is not about race. It is about his ideologies. Before you say, oh, you're all racist towards these Arabs. No, that's not it. It's just that we're kind of, I guess, hostile towards anybody with a pro-Hamas or pro-Palestinian rhetoric. We're kind of hostile towards anybody who's on the side of, the Palestinians. And, being on the side of the Palestinians is basically pretty much saying what? They should have their own land. Now, you being pro-Hamas is wild. Like, you pretty much championing the fact that they went over there, did all that, took hostages, did what they did. Yeah, you championing that is crazy. But you being okay, but you wanting, peace in Palestine, them to have their own land, that's perfectly fine. But for some reason, though, it sounds like we're honestly having a hostile, I'm saying it seems like we're starting to take hostile action toward people who have anti-Israeli positions.
That actually he worked as a diplomat of sorts, right? On a diplomatic mission as a program manager at the Syria office in the British Embassy of Beirut. So he was a person that was helping to establish peace. And a British diplomat named Andrew Waller has come out and given a statement regarding Mahmoud. He said, quote, he went through a vetting process to get the job and was cleared to work on sensitive issues for the British government, Waller said. It is outright defamation what Trump has done. Mahmoud is extremely kind and conscientious person, and he was loved by his colleagues at the Syria office, he added. Maybe that guy's lying. Maybe he didn't know that truly, and this person really did just want to get in the United States because he wanted to support the activities of Hamas. But is it wrong for us to ask for the information that led to this? It's been 3 days. He's been detained and he has not been charged. So everything is just rhetoric online, which is like, why wouldn't you at first have the charges ready to go before you did this, before you publicized this on the White House website, making fun of this? Shalom, we got him, this, all, and now people are asking questions and people are chasing their tails. And then there's this one other piece that I can't figure out. Why did ICE move him from New York, where he was arrested, detained, to Louisiana? They moved him away from his family. And his attorneys are speaking out against that, alleging that the move from New York metropolitan area to Louisiana was just a retaliatory transfer that was intended to just restrict his access to his lawyers and to his family, and to position him somewhere where essentially we would be more favorable to Trump's administration's policies. They're accusing ICE of essentially deploying the transfer as a way to disrupt court proceedings in New York. Now, there may be a valid reason that they did that. I couldn't think of one. I looked at this several different ways, asked the team, why would you move him? If this happened in New York, it's pertaining to Columbia University, why would they detain him and then move him down to Louisiana? On Sunday, his lawyer had filed an initial petition for his release in New York in the hopes that it would be argued in New York where she could continue to represent her client. And she said, quote, the government just willfully ignored it to disrupt the natural adjudication of that and sent him 1,000 miles away. Said her name is Bahar Azmi, the legal director of the Center for Constitutional Rights. She says, quote, now his wife can't visit him. His attorneys will have a hard time visiting him, and his long-term immigration attorney can't represent him in that jurisdiction. So I don't understand really what is happening right now. I don't understand who exactly this benefits. This feels to me like someone just made a call and said, go after this guy. I don't know. I just don't get it. There were so many students that they could have plucked from. Like I said, I have never been against the idea of any students that broke the law and did something, forms of illegal protesting.
And all righty, we have ran out of time, guys. I know, right? It'd be like that. But hey, you know what time it is. You know.